Music licensing reimagined.
Long time coming, black on the bottom of my feet from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling. Going from buying to selling to customers. Run up the business, God is my witness. Turn up the sun up from Monday to Sunday. We maxing our limits. My mind running like Tom Cruise on an action movie. Moving a mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation. I'm finessing a visit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, and welcome to Stat Diggers for UFC Mexico. We have Brandon Moreno going against Steve Erceg, and I'm really looking forward to this card. This card is going to be fun, man. We have a ton of fun fights. We have a phenomenal co-main event when Manuel Torres going against Drew Dober. We have the return of Jose Funky Medina taking on Gautier, who's going to be an interesting prospect there. Some other fun fights as well. We got the return of Vinc from Hell. Pichel, he's returning from Hell after about a 2-year layoff to come fight at 43 years old. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. Last night we had UFC London, and I see a lot of people saying the card sucked, and yeah, it did. It wasn't that great from a fan standpoint, but that's what London cards are, Weezy. We talked about it last week. London cards, we get a ton of decisions. We had 0 knockouts last night on 13 fight card, and we were prepared. You know, I didn't have a ton of violence bets. I went mostly money lines, so kind of learned from my mistakes in the past. But for Mexico here, I do think we'll get some violence. We're in high elevation. We've got some violent fighters on the card. I think some people are going to get piped. I think some people are going to get milked, and I can't wait to break it all down and see who will get piped and who will get milked. Weezy, what is up? Are you looking forward to UFC Mexico?
Yeah, man, I am. You know, London cards have been really tough betting wise for both of us, actually, for a minute now, and we both kind of dug out of that hole yesterday, which was nice. But like these Mexico cards, they just always seem to deliver from a fan standpoint. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily going to deliver from a gambling standpoint. You know, these things, they come and go, but man, they did a great job on this card. And I want to just give a little bit of love here for whoever made the match between the Peruvian Homer Simpson in Jose Medina and this guy, Ateba Gautier, who looks like he could punch a hole through stone. Oh. So it's going to be one of the best fights. I can't wait. I mean, like, this guy is just, he takes so much punishment. Like he looks like he's impossible to knock out, and it looks like this Gautier guy has got an absolute death touch. So I can't, and then it's at elevation too. And like the one fight Gautier lost, he gassed out after 1 round. So that matchmaking is just, I mean, absolute chef's kiss. So whoever did that one, big up yourself. But yeah, there's a lot of really good matchmaking up and down the card. Some interesting young prospects like Rosas, like David Martinez, Ronaldo Rodriguez, you know, Edgar Chairez, the Rodriguez Costa fights fire. Seeing how Julia Polastri is going to do against Loopy Godinez, that's a great fight too. So I'm really looking forward to breaking this one down. I think it's going to deliver much better for the fans from a fan standpoint in terms of how these fights play out.
Dude, that London card, it felt like it took forever. Like, it felt like it lasted all day long. Like, it was way too long. So many decisions, but like you always say, the best cards are the cards we make money on, and boy did we, which feels good. I always get my ass shaved on London cards, but like I said, I learned from my mistakes and kind of stayed away from the violence. But yeah, we'll do a quick recap of last night before we get into. If you guys could do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Sunday, 10:15 p.m. sharp. And it's very sharp because we're never late. We're not a second late, a minute late. We're here on time, starting right at 10:15 Eastern time. I do want to shout out the sponsor of the show, and that is our guy, Avery. Shout out to Avery. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Guys, go give him a follow. MMA_Very on X. He does weekly giveaways. He does like either a 2 or 3 leg parlay. And if he hits the parlay, he gives half the winnings to somebody that likes his post. He's been doing it every week. I think he's hit it twice thus far. So yeah, go follow Avery, MMA_Very on X, and shout out to Avery. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show and keeping the show alive. So yeah, UFC London. First, we got to talk about the on-site piping of the week last week. And yeah, these segments we've been doing, we've been hot, man. The Stat Diggers parlay, the on-site piping of the week, the milking of the week. We've done really well these last several weeks with these segments. Last week, nobody really got piped, man. There were 0 knockouts. There were maybe a couple milkings in there, but nobody really got piped last week. So there weren't a ton of options. This week is going to be different. This week, I think a lot of people are getting piped on-site. But last week, we went with Carlos Olberg, right? Which, did he pipe Jan Blachowicz? No, not at all. It was a competitive fight, but hey, he won. He won by decision. I didn't have any action on the fight, but yeah, it wasn't a piping. But like I said, nobody got piped, so nothing you can do. The milking of the week. Uncle Weezy nailed this one. The Stat Diggers milking of the week. That wasn't a milking. I don't know what was. Sean Brady to milk Leon Rocky Edwards. Sean Brady went in there and dominated him, milked him, and just drained him. I mean, Leon had a lot of milk coming into the fight. After the fight, there was no milk left to drain, and submitted him in the 4th round. So the Stat Diggers milk in the week is 3-0, Weezy. 3-0, undefeated. I can't wait to see who's going to get milked for UFC Mexico. And then the Stat Diggers parlay of the week cashed. It was the Carlos Olberg money line with the over in the
Wood Chairez fight.
Wood Chairez fight. So 3 for 3. So the milking cashes, the on-site piping, not really a piping, but it cashes, the parlay cashes, and we both cashed a lot last night. Weezy, I'll let you start. How did your UFC London go?
Yeah, Brady, my sources tell me that if Leon Edwards, Sean Brady had not have been the main event, there would have been no fights taking place after it, because the milk had soaked the canvas so bad that it would have been unfightable on. Oh. So, I mean, congratulations to Sean Brady for absolutely mopping the floor.
Milking.
For Leon Edwards and just milking him and just leaving it all over the canvas. My God. Yeah. Just, like there's dairy farmers in Minnesota that were watching that fight going, man, if I could milk like that, we would be billionaires. Yeah. So that was a great performance by Sean Brady. I also had a great performance when it came to my bets, Brady. 1 money line bet, 3 units, Marcin Tybura. We got a little lucky there. It was a close fight. I thought Tybura did win 2 of the 3 rounds, but man, you could have easily scored that for Mick Parkin. Mick Parkin being an undefeated fighter. Mick Parkin fighting at home in London. I was kind of surprised not to see him get that decision, but Tybura definitely got the job done there and cashed that 3-unit bet at -105 for me. Dude, there's no better jiu-jitsu in the world than that comes from a female Irish kickboxer. Shout out Shauna Bannon for the submission win over Puger Tomar. Plus 1,800 for a quarter unit, cashes for 4.5 units, Brady. Big hit there. I had Keelan Loughran to win by decision. That was a very close fight. I scored it for Fletcher. That bounce went my way. I cashed a 1-unit bet at plus 220 there. And then I had one that didn't go my way where Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla, very close fight. I scored that one for Jai, but the judges scored it for Taco. He did some really great work in the clinch there. So I had 3 decision fights. Tybura went my way. Keelan Loughran went my way. Jai Herbert didn't go my way, but I'll take 2 out of 3 when it comes to close fights any time of the week, Brady. So that worked out really well. What was bad for me, though, ass shaving of the week, lost dominantly. Morgan Charrier, just we saw why he's 5-9 in decisions last night. We saw it. The guy can be very, very tentative. He can wait sometimes. And if his opponent isn't really like forcing a fight, Morgan kind of gets left behind and loses minutes. And that's exactly what he did against Nathaniel Woods. So the ass shaving of the week and the greasy 4-leg parlay both sucked, Brady. Only one of the 4 legs of the parlay hit. The ass shaving of the week didn't hit. And I had a 1-unit bet on Charrier to win inside the distance at plus 300. But I think my favorite call of the week was, and I'm really mad that I didn't go heavier, but I had the Chris Duncan plus 3.5 points handicap, and I wanted to bet his money line. I wanted to bet his decision prop as well. I wasn't sold on Jordan Vucenic at all, and I was telling everybody on my Odds Shopper subscription to not lay the juice on Jordan Vucenic. I really liked Chris Duncan in that spot. Had a 1-unit bet plus 165 that cashed there, up 8.21 units, Brady, with a 100% return on investment. So I was really just thrilled. 8.25 units in bets, 8.21 units in profit. So just thrilled with the outcome. It wasn't a great card from a fan perspective, but I will remember it fondly for cashing over 8 units in bets. Also, I think I was first place in the in Gordo's Ironman tournament last night. So I had a big DFS night, and my prize picks play hit as well. So even though the ass shaving of the week was just absolutely terrible, and my greasy 4-leg parlay stunk, everything else came together like butt cheeks, and I had a big night.
Yeah, same here. It's probably my second best night of the year last night. I'm never going to complain about a decision again not going my way, because last night it's like, I don't know if I sucked a leprechaun's dick or what, because the amount of luck I got last night, I quite frankly I couldn't believe it, because none of this ever happens. None of this goes my way. So yeah, like I said earlier, these London cards have destroyed me throughout the last several years, because I'm a violence guy. I like unders, and the fights just go over in London. There's no violence in London. It just doesn't happen. I think there's maybe been one London card where there was a little bit of violence. Other than that, you're looking at 8, 9, 10 decisions on a London card, right? So this week for London, I went money line heavy. I think I had like 6 or 7 money lines for this card, all of them being plus money, which a lot of dogs came through last night as well. So yeah, the underdogs did really good, but what screwed me the most was the big favorites. The big favorites screwed me. Jordan Vucenic had him in a parlay. He went out there, and quite frankly, the fight doesn't even look competitive. Duncan almost finishes him in the first, then gets a guillotine in the second. So that was a really bad bet. And then I had Christian Leroy Duncan to win in round 2 and round 3. And I mean, it was a bad bet, but holy crap, dude. Like, what are you doing out there? What are you doing, Christian Leroy Duncan? What are you doing? That was just as bad about, remind me of like the Nate Maness fight. Like, what are you doing? I'm not going to come on here and have like a stroke like I did for the Maness fight, but get some help, Christian Leroy Duncan. I mean, they're throwing you a softball in Andre Poliev, and you go out there and just, you don't do anything. And Poliev's performance was even worse. He ran away the whole time. So those were the 2 spots that hurt me the most. But yeah, I was on Colin Loughran money line plus 128 for 1.25 units. Very close fight. You give the first round to Loughran, you give the second round to Fletcher, and then it all comes down to the third round. Loughran wins, the first 4 minutes and 20 seconds of the third. Fletcher starts to come on the last 30 to 45 seconds. And that's a balance that went my way. I had Marcin Tybura money line 2 units at plus 100. And I got reverse CLV'd, probably the worst I've ever gotten reverse CLV'd. The line closed at like plus 150. And typically when I get reverse CLV'd, I'm like annoyed. But in this spot, I'm like, I kind of didn't mind. I kind of didn't mind getting reverse CLV, because whenever I get CLV, I lose. Remember Vince Morales got like a whole $1 of CLV and he lost and looked horrible. But yeah, got reverse CLV'd, and another close fight. To be honest, whenever I heard 29-28, all 3 judges, I thought for sure they were giving it to Mick Parkin, but they gave it to Marcin Tybura. So that was another one that went my way. I had Chris Padilla money line. It was my first bet of the week, 1.5 units at plus 100. And I do want to say a big thank you to Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert, thank you so much for not fighting until the third round. I mean, Jai Herbert could have easily beat Chris Padilla. Padilla didn't show up, but luckily Jai Herbert didn't show up even more. What a terrible fight. And hopefully they cut Jai Herbert, man. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of watching Jai Herbert's bullshit fights. This guy just doesn't want to fight anymore. He hasn't wanted to fight in a very long time. His last 6-7 fights have went the distance. This guy, Jai Herbert, used to be exciting, and now he's not. Now he's not at all. So hopefully they cut Jai Herbert, and we don't have to watch his piss poor fights ever again. The next bet was Nathaniel Wood, decision only. plus 123 for 1.25 units. And yeah, at first I was kind of hating that bet because Nathaniel Wood almost finished Morgan Charrier. I thought he was going to get him out of there, which would have been very annoying because Nathaniel Wood couldn't finish Daniel Pineda. But luckily, Wood goes out there. He wins the decision like he always does and cash a nice decision-only prop. I thought the money line was fine as well, but I liked the decision-only even more. Oh, I had Alexia Thainara wins by sub, half a unit plus 500. I wanted to add on there. I wanted to add on to the fight ends by sub at plus 340. It was a very strong read I had there. Was very confident in it. And I even called the round, the method, and the actual sub. I called a rear naked choke submission in the very first round for Alexa Thainara. I kind of thought Molly was on her way out. There were, hints at potential retirement, and she did retire, and she got submitted for like the third or fourth time. So that was big. My favorite bet of the night, Uncle Weezy, Kevin Holland on the money line, 1.25 units at plus 120. And it was terrifying. It was scary. It was horrifying. This guy's a dumbass. Kevin Holland's a dumbass. But it's like this guy, he's losing to big middleweights, right? Gunnar Nelson hasn't fought in 2 years, 2 fights in the last 5 years. Kevin Holland, there's no excuse to losing this fight. And he goes out there and he looks good. He does get taken down here or there, but he's active off his back. Shows a very good guard and even drops Gunnar Nelson at the end of the first round. And then in the third round, he gets into a deep head and arm choke. And I was pissed, dude. I was like, okay, come on. Really? Really, Kevin Holland? Really? You're up 2 rounds and you're going to do this to me? But he battles some adversity, which we haven't seen Kevin Holland battle adversity in a long time. He's been quitting in fights. So shout out to Kevin Holland. That bet felt really good. And then I did have a bet on Leon Edwards, which was my worst bet of the night, which kind of sucks because early on I was leading Sean Brady, but the more the week went on, the more I kind of like Edwards. So that was a bad bet. And then I also had a bad bet on Puja Tamar at plus 180. I got it like a couple hours before fight time. Just thought it was a close fight. And to be fair, I mean, the 2 judges did give Puja the first round, which is silly, but the scorecards are probably pre-written. Puja drops Bannon and then it gets submitted shortly after. But overall, up almost 5 units on the night. And yeah, can't complain, man. Had pretty much every bounce go my way. So pretty happy about it.
Yeah, when the bounces go your way, the units come flooding in, man, and that's part of this is, we can't control the luck, and I knew, dude, I felt those Loughran and Tabora decisions going my way because I was getting reverse CLV'd on both bets. And that's how Vegas needs the guy that you're on. And I got to tell you, Brady, Vegas tends to get what they want, man. And I was just kind of sitting there and I was in my Discord and going into that third round of the Tabora fight, I said, guys, I just wanted to point out that like Tabora has went from minus 125 to plus 140. So if he wins this third round, there's a very good chance he's going to win this on the judges' scorecards because Vegas really needs a Tabora win. And he won the third round fairly decisively, actually. And because of that, he wound up getting that win. And it's, that's when I'm on a money line bet and it's going to go to decision and I'm getting reverse CLV'd, I'm like, yeah, thank you. I'm fine with that. Obviously you'd be more fine with it if you waited and you got in at the best possible price. But at least if you are getting reverse CLV that Vegas needs what you need. And, sometimes they probably make a call every once in a while.
Hey, wouldn't shock me, dude. Wouldn't shock me. But hey, let's keep it rolling, man. We're both on a 3-week winning streak, which is nice. The milking of the week hit, the piping of the week hit, the Stat Diggers parlay hit. Let's keep it rolling into UFC Mexico. What is up, everybody in the chat? We got Elijah one. First one in the building. Good to see you in here. We got TH with the Oi. We got UFC picks and balances saying, come on. Colby, excited for the breakdown. I'm excited to break it down. Can't wait for the return of Jose Medina. I can't wait for it as well. Get some help. Oh, by the way, I did do a poll. To see who needs help. And there was 4 options. There should have been 5. Like I should have added Guram Kudataladze. Like he clearly needs help. But there was only, they only let you do 4 options. So this is what we got, Weezy. Here's the people that potentially need help. And we'll see what you think. Christian Leroy Duncan potentially needs help. The crooked, corrupt judges, they potentially need help. Jordan Vucenic, he might need help. And Leon Rocky Edwards potentially needs help. Out of those 4, who do you think needs the most help?
I did put in a vote, and my vote, yeah, I did. And it was for Jordan Vucenic. You know, I knew, like, I kept telling my people all week, I'm like, there are massive alarm bells going off in my head that are associated with a minus 500 in front of Jordan Vucenic's name. Wrong weight class, Euro trash grappler. There was just nothing about it that made sense to me. So, yeah, I think Jordan needs a little bit of help. I think he needs spend a little bit less time in the tattoo chair, a little bit more time getting back to cutting some weight, getting back down to 145, which I think is his best weight class. And he'll get some good wins here in the UFC, I think. But he needs to get to, you can't be at the wrong weight class in the UFC, man, you know?
Dude, it was hilarious. He shot a takedown from like 15 feet out. It was the furthest I've ever seen somebody attempt a takedown. Like, it was, I couldn't believe it. So he definitely needs help. But the winner, and who needs help the most, is none other than the person that got milked. It is Leon Rocky Edwards. Leon Rocky Edwards, get some help. Get some damn help. Get some help, man.
He's ruining the violence on these cards.
I know. He's
I said it last week. Remember when I was like, dude, if he's even in the same county, we get no finishes, you know?
No knockouts.
You put him in the building and the violence just gets sucked out of the room.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. Get some help, Leon Edwards. For God's sake, work on your submission defense. Shame, shame, shame. Put some respect on Sean Abannon's name. Meanwhile, get some help. Yeah, Guram should have been on the list. I completely forgot about that fight. Let's see. Biggest play was on Morgan. Boy, did he stand there in French that fight. Glad to see Molly retire. Yeah. Why are people hating on Molly? Like, every time Molly brings it, win or lose. I like Molly. I like Molly. Come on, guys.
But you got to give it to Alexia. That was, dude, less than 2 weeks notice, long flight from Brazil to London to fight in Molly McCann in front of an unfriendly crowd, short notice, weight cut. She looked phenomenal. She did not look like the moment was too big for her at all. I think we're going to be expecting big things from Alexia Tanara.
Yeah, she's really good. I think she's really good. Even though McCann was probably like checked out. Apparently she has like her own business now, making like desserts or something. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Oh yeah. The judges need to get some help. Have they arrested Kerry Hatley yet, or is he still on trial?
No, man. Like my police scanner has had no news about that yet.
So
there's cops I hear on the scanner. They'll be like, "Hey, we just saw Kerry Hatley. Is there a warrant out on this guy?" They're like, "We're still waiting on it." I hear cops that are actually asking, "Can we arrest this man?" I see him. He's right here. He's at the Snuff Film Festival in Las Vegas. You know, like, can we please arrest this man? They're like, "No." You know, and because of freedom of speech, we got Snuff Film Festival. You know, we can have. I don't know, man. It's messed up, but he's still out there walking the streets free.
They need to arrest. I mean, this guy single-handedly retired Jalen Turner. You know, it's his fault, right? Jalen he kind of alluded to it.
He did allude to it, yeah, because he said that he was getting all kinds of shit from people, and it was like, come on, man. What am I supposed to do, you know?
Yeah. Get some help, Kerry Hatley. We're never late. We're never late. That's true. If anything, we're early. I would agree. I agree. We got Glenn in the building. What is up? DGen for life. It did look bad, man. It did look bad. We got Fromage Frog in the building. What is good? Fight IQ of the week goes to Vucenic. Absolutely great strategy to shoot a takedown when you were piecing up your opponent on the feet who is gassing out. Genius move. Yeah, there was some really good fight IQ last night all around, I'd say. Some really good fight IQ.
Who was it who somebody it was Leon Edwards shooting the takedown
yeah.
Oh man.
That was hilarious.
That was bad, dude.
We got Dylan in the chat. What's good? And he's saying late, but there's a first time for everything. I don't think we were late tonight.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I thought McParkin won. It was a close fight. I thought they were going to give it to McParkin for sure. That's what I said. We got MMA_very. God bless Sean Braid. Yeah, he milked Edwards. He milked him dry.
Sure did, man.
Milked him dry. Milk all over the canvas. Big mess. big mess.
That was like that Cage Warriors fight between Nick Dalby and Ross Houston, where it got called because there was so much blood on the canvas that nobody could plant their foot. Everybody was slipping and sliding around.
Yeah.
Mark Goddard was like, "This is ridiculous." You know, he stopped the fight.
Yes. Pipe that like one. I agree. Are the judges still crooked when the decision goes in your favor? Yes, they are always crooked and corrupt. We're live. Yes, sir. My girl Pooja needs some BJJ expertise. Yeah, you could say that. Absolutely. Garum got milked. Yeah, that was a weird performance. We got Yes Freak in the building. Good to see you. We got Daz with the $5 donut. Appreciate you, Daz. Saying, remember the Alamo where fighters who don't gas do and fight who do gas don't. Last Mexico card was all over the place cardio-wise. Yeah, we'll talk about the elevation for sure, Daz. It's something I looked into a lot for these cards. I kind of want to see where people have been training, stuff like that. When did they arrive to Mexico City? Stuff like that. I tried to find out the best I could on some of these fighters. So we'll talk about all that. Appreciate you, Daz, for stopping by. Brady, what is that intro song? My mind is moving like Tom Cruise in an action movie. Hey, I don't know what it's called, but I'll have to get the name and let you know. But glad you like it. It's better than that trash elevator music.
Oh, God, I
say
know.
that. Why the hell wasn't Taka Padilla? Yeah, I mean, give Taka. I mean, you can. No, actually, don't let Taka fight because Jai actually did hurt him really bad in that third round with was it a knee or an elbow? Cut him open bad. So.
Yeah, I think it was I forget whether it was, and I was like, oh man, Jai won the third. I'm going to cash this third straight decision bet. No, I didn't get it, man. Yeah. 2 out of 3. I'll take it though.
Yeah, I was like 5 for 5 on decision. I couldn't believe it. I mean, none of those bounces ever go my way. Well, that was bad for even a London card. Yeah, but we kind of got to expect it by now. I mean, London cards suck. Simple as that. They suck. Yeah. They suck. Betting on London cards should be banned. Yeah, just got to know how to kind of bet him at this point. No violence, stuff like that. We got my guy Tim in the building. We got Lou Betcha in the building. What is up, Lou Betcha? Weezy got a haircut. Did you get a haircut?
No. It's all just tied back. It's all right back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing and milk that like button, just like poor Leon Edwards got milked dry against Sean Brady. We got Greg Goes just tuning in right on time. Yes, sir. The viewers did get piped, man. I mean, it was an early card, kind of a long day. Eyeballs got piped. Yeah, we got the chat. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Lochran, Tiber, and Nathaniel Wood. Let's go 3 dog bets. I was on all 3 of them, and a couple of them were close fights. Brady looked phenomenal. Yes, he did. I thought Tibura won. I scored it for Tibura, but it was very close. Very, very close.
Yeah, I just thought Mick would get that decision in London. I was like, oh man, he's undefeated. Andy's at home. He's probably going to get this. And he did kind of have those moments at the end of the rounds. But oh well.
Yeah. Here, Delusional, if you think Tibura and Jai won, they both lost. It wasn't close. I thought the Tibura fight was very, very close. I think the takedown at the end of the first round probably swayed the crooked, corrupt judges.
Maybe. Yeah. Or it was a phone call from Vegas like, hey, gentlemen, you want some London whores? They're not the best whores, but they're whores. We could really use a Tibura win. And,
Yeah. I mean, those judges do like those last-second takedowns, kind of in a close round. Those last-second takedowns, I think, sway the crooked, blind, corrupt judges for sure. What else we got in here? Chris Duncan, the Scottish Steve Garcia, tremendous dog, a tremendous walking meme. Yeah, the Scottish Steve Garcia, I can see it, dude. Both are pretty solid. Brady and Weezy in their bag. Let's go. You got Paul saying Weezy's on fire. Yes, he is. Made 2K off abandoned sub. Jeez, there you go.
Nice.
There you go. What was wrong with Leroy? Was it the cage control? It wasn't. It was not finishing Pulev.
Yeah, and putting himself into the clinch when he was dominating the distance striking exchanges. And I thought that Chris wasn't really having that much success in the clinch, but he kept putting himself there, which was frustrating.
Yeah, sucked Leprechaun's dick. I'm dead. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to win bets. What else we got? CLD needs some help. Should have got that bum out of there. You're telling me. Leroy Duncan could have gotten him out of there at any moment. He waits. Yeah, come on, dude. He hurts him badly with 10 seconds left. Like, come on. Come on. We got my she with the $4.99. Appreciate you saying apparently finishing first in Tapology only gets me $10 in profit percentage. Really killed all of my parlays. Yeah, congrats to my she finishing first on Tapology. That's not easy to do whatsoever. He did tag me on X, and I congratulated him. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's tough to get the picks right, the bets right, but the bets will fall, man. Keep making good picks, the bets will fall. Loughran stinks on ice. I don't think he stinks. I just think he's kind of. I don't think he's the smartest fighter. He kind of almost threw that fight away in the last 30 seconds or so. Never a doubt with Holland. I mean, I had a lot of doubt, but sometimes the toughest bets are the best bets. What else we got in here? Holland plus 102 units cash it. There you go. There you go. You know, I'm not rooting for Molly, but it's always sad to see someone realize they're in the older group and retire. Yeah, I'm kind of sad Molly retired, but it is what it is. What could go wrong? Zhu, play of the week. Kevin Holland, yes. Pooja was a good bet. She is just retarded. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the judges gave her the first round, had a nice, and she borderline knocked out Bandit. Like, that fight could have been stopped, but at the end of the day, I put money on that fight, and that's on me. Although it was a half a unit, that was probably a half a unit too much. What else we got in here? Does milk mean sub? No, not particularly. It could be a sub, but milking, it's like Carlos Leal milked Alex Morono, right? Mm-hmm. That was one of the milkings. Yeah. Carly Judice, she milked that
Uniesi Dubin. Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a submission, but it's a milking. I mean, it's where they come in there with their overalls, they bring in a pail, they get on their hands and knees, they grab the teats, and they milk it, and they milk it dry until there's none left, and the ref is forced to step in and stop the fight. So preferably a finish, could be sub, could be knockout. Yeah, Lubetya is a mod. We do have a couple mods. We got Lubetya modding. We got Dixon Cider modding as well. Both great mods. 100%. I'm a mod too.
You're a mod too, but you don't really you can't mod and be in the show at the same time as
exactly. Yeah. My modding days are over while Stat Diggers is on. That's for sure. Yeah.
But you are a mod. Weezy's a mod for sure. We got Woozer 39 with the $2.99. Appreciate you, Woozer 39 with the $2.99. What else we got up in here? Guram needs some help. Yes, he does. Let's see what else. Leon, massive size advantage, and got bullied. He did get bullied. Molly looks so bad. Yeah, she did. But I also think Thionar is going to be pretty solid. What is going on in here? Just talking to the chat right now. Brain Uncle Weezy, do you guys realize that Edwards versus Hamzat almost happened and Edwards was the opening favorite? Jeez.
I would have been on Hamzat.
Get some help, Leon Edwards. We got to get to the chat, man. We got to get to the chat. We got to get to it, man. I'm trying. I'm going fast as I can. Bonnie Blue's from England. Shout out Bonnie Blue. Maybe we get Bonnie Blue on the show. Fletcher was the biggest robbery of the night. I don't think there were really any robberies last night, to be honest. I don't like. There's been robberies this year. Like what was that one? Francis Marshall. That was a robbery.
Marshall.
I don't think there was any robberies last night. Bad decisions, potentially. Robberies, no. I mean, some of these fights were very close. All right. We got it. What? I don't know.
That's what Molly said when they faced off. She went like that, so they made a joke about that, yeah.
Oh, God. All right, guys, let's get into it. The Fletcher fight was I don't think it was a robbery, man. I mean, it was a close fight. Do you score the 4 minutes and 30 seconds of control of Loughran, or do you score the last 30 seconds of damage of Fletcher? I mean, it could go either way, but I don't know about a robbery. Parkin got raw. I don't think that was a robbery either, but I don't know. I guess we have different definitions of robberies. I'm just saying that because you bet Loughran. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But it is what it is. We move on to the first fight of the card. It is Jamaal Emmers going against Gabriel Miranda. We got Jamaal Emmers, 35 years old, 5'10" with a 74-inch reach. Gabriel Miranda, 34 years old, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. We got Miranda 1 year younger, Jamaal Emmers with a 1-inch height disadvantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. We got Jamaal Emmers, who is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Submission loss to Pat Sabatini. Decision win against Ashkabab. Decision loss to Jack Jenkins. Knockout win against Dennis Bazookia. And then a knockout loss to Nate Landwehr. As far as Gabriel Miranda, I'm sorry. Come on. Can we keep it appropriate? Can we keep it a little appropriate? We're trying to break down some fights. But yes. So yeah, Gabriel Miranda, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He made his debut against Benoit Saint Denis, lost by 2nd round knockout, and then submitted Shane Young by 1st round submission, and then lost to Morgan Charrier, the last Pirate, by 2nd round knockout. So it's one of those things, Weezy, where it's like, who's the better fighter? The answer to that is Jamaal Emmers by a mile, by an absolute mile. Jamaal Emmers, he has it all. He has the build, he has the speed, the striking, the wrestling background, the BJJ black belt. Jamaal Emmers has it all. Besides the most horseshit fight IQ, he's not the most, but just terrible fight IQ. I'll never forget the fight with Pat Sabatini. That's what really did. The Giga fight. The Giga fight was terrible. The Pat Sabatini fight, man, he knocks down Pat Sabatini, and instead of either finishing him or letting him up, he goes for a leg or an ankle against Pat Sabatini, dude, and he gets like heel hooked in the 1st round. The Giga Chikadze fight. This dude doesn't start trying to wrestle until like the last 8 minutes of the fight, and then he starts to finally wrestle and starts to have some success, but the strikes for Giga for like the 1st round and a half, I couldn't believe it. So Jamaal Emmers, yes, he's skill for skill. He's minus 1,000 here. It's just you can't trust this guy. Gabriel Miranda, I don't know. I mean, this guy, he's a grappler. The wrestling's not great. The striking's non-existent. Some of the worst striking defense you ever see. No chin. Questionable cardio. This guy has no wins past the 6-minute mark. All of his wins come in the first 6 minutes of a fight. I think Gabriel Miranda is submission or bust. Probably 1st round submission or bust. Jamaal Emmers has no reason he should be losing this fight, but deep down, I kind of have a feeling this fight might hit the mat, and there could be some sketchy moments. So the pick for me has got to be Emmers. He's so much better, and I think he probably knocks out Gabriel Miranda here, but I will not be laying the minus 350. If we did a what could go wrong parlay, Jamaal Emmers would be the 1st leg.
The only leg. You know, because like this guy, you know, I mean, we'd use that term, he could fuck up a cup of coffee. Emmers can absolutely do that. And Emmers is like, this should be your second smash your TV bet of the week. And that's betting on Jamaal Emmers at big chalk against a guy who has one way and only one way that he could win a fight. And you're going to go, wait, did Jamaal Emmers just take him down 30 seconds into the fight? You know, like, because you could absolutely see it, dude. It's terrifying. It's terrifying because, like, Emmers is like this guy that if he had any kind of coaching, and I don't know if it's the coaches or if it's just that he's like so self-confident, and he, you know, I mean, like, I could see why Emmers would be so self-confident. His striking is really good. His wrestling is really good. He's huge for the division. He's got good conditioning. He's got good power in his hands. He's got everything that you need except for the need as a fighter to try to make things easy on yourself. He just doesn't do that. And with Miranda, you got a guy that's very predictable and very one-dimensional. He's not going to knock you out. He's 1-3 to the knockout as a professional, and he's 16-0 to the submission. So all you got to do is look at that and just be like, all right, let's keep the fight standing. Let me box. I would not be surprised if Jamaal Emmers shot a takedown here.
Yeah.
You know, and if I had Emmers in a parlay at minus 350, Brady, and he shot a takedown, I would lose my mind. So this is like something like I feel like the Gabriel Miranda by submission will be the inaugural, you know, stat diggers. This guy could fuck up a cup of coffee bet, you know, and that would be just like Emmers can fuck up a cup of coffee. How is he going to fuck up this cup of coffee? He's gonna grapple with a guy with one way to win, and that's by submission. So yeah, Gabriel Miranda by sub is a bet that's going to have value this week. Am I going to be making that bet? I don't know. Maybe a quarter unit if I can get like that plus 1,200 that we got on the Vera sub, or a number similar to what Bannon by sub was. But yeah, look, this is Jamaal Emmers should absolutely mop the floor with this dude.
Yeah, he should destroy him.
Will he?
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see. It's Jamaal Emmers, dude. Yeah, Gabriel Miranda by sub is going to be like plus 300. It's gonna be his money line. I mean, that's literally, there's no other path even imaginable. Like, is he knocking out Emmers? No. Is he winning it? He's never winning a decision ever in his entire life. He has 100% finish rate. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the sub prop could hold value depending on where the line's at. The over under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 plus 140. Under 1 or the under 2.5 is minus 170. And Jamaal Emmers opened up minus 210. Which is silly. I mean, Jamaal Emmers probably should be a big favorite here. He's now minus 350, and Gabriel Miranda opened up plus 180. He's currently plus 285. So money pouring in on Emmers. And yeah, this line probably does get wider throughout the week because, Miranda does have such his path is a sub. His path is a sub. So we'll see. Should be an interesting fight nonetheless.
Yeah, agreed. I could just see Jamaal Emmers going to his coaches being like, dude, I watched Stat Diggers. Gabriel Miranda's got a 0% takedown defense. I got to take him down, right? And they're like, Jamaal, no, please don't.
Geez. Yeah, or he could drop Miranda and then get on top and then get subbed.
Yeah.
Like a lot could go wrong.
Puja versus Shanna.
Yeah, a lot could go wrong. Like minus 350 on Jamaal Emmers. I didn't mean to ignore you. What'd you say, Steve? My bad.
Emmers, I only saw one comment from Steve.
Yeah, might be. The chat's moving, man. Emmers skills minus 900. Emmers brain plus 500. Yeah, that's the problem. I have 2 units on Martinez, Emmers, parlay. Get some help, Martin. No, I think that hits. It should hit. I like both those spots. Miranda has never lost to a UFC fighter who isn't from France. Interesting.
Oh,
that's true. Benoit Saint-Denis and Morgan Charrier, the last pirate. That milk me comment. Yeah, it was immature. It was a little immature. That dude that asked me to milk him. Come on, we're talking fights. Let's be a little.
Look, and Brady, when somebody named Barry McCockiner is calling you immature, it's time to get some help.
You bring up a great point. Great point. Let's see. Emmers could F up a cup of water. He could. Emmers' line keeps getting hit, and I expect it to keep getting hit throughout the week. I mean, and people are probably going to be parlaying this guy, which, yeah, he should win, but I don't know. We got Barry McCockiner with the 199. Appreciate you, Barry, saying White Chris came through. $1 from me, 99 cents from Kiwi. Shout out to Barry McCockiner, who I think is also Real Fight Picks. Shout out to Real Fight Picks. Nice. Barry McCockiner. Appreciate you. I got Tybura live. Plus 1,000. Wow. Thanks for the confidence boost, Wheezy. Plus 1,000 live is crazy.
That's a great number.
Especially with the crooked, corrupt judges.
You got that right.
Ignore me earlier, too. I just wanted to tell my T.O. Wheezy, oi, guys, I'm so sorry.
Fight talk only. What's up, G?
I know people get upset when I miss their comment, but I'm trying, guys. I promise I am. I promise. I'm trying. I got a host. I gotta, do the breakdowns. I gotta, talk to Wheezy. I gotta do the comments. I gotta read the comment because I can't pull up some of these comments. Some of these comments will get me banned on YouTube. I got to be careful reading some of these comments. Like this one right here. This is something that will get me banned on YouTube. Milking Josie and Nunez dry. Nobody wants to hear that. I'm sure YouTube does not want to hear shit like that. So I got to be careful pulling up some of these comments. But I promise I'm not ignoring anybody. Sing, no, but I do have something planned in a couple cards. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Raul Rosas Jr. going against that bum, Vince Morales. Just kidding, he's not a bum, but I'm still upset about his last performance. Anyway, we got Raul Rosas Jr., 20 years old, 5'9" with a 67-inch reach. Vince Morales, 34 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Raul Rosas Jr., 14 years younger, same height. Morales with a 3-inch reach advantage. Raul Rosas Jr. is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Jay Perrin. Decision loss against Christian Rodriguez. Knockout win against Terrence Mitchell. Submission win against Ricky Tercios. And then a decision win against Arichi Long. As far as Vince Morales, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He had a stint in the UFC, didn't go well. Got cut, had a good stint outside the UFC, comes back, lost to Taylor Lapilus by decision, and then he lost to Elijah Smith by decision. So I believe that Morales has actually lost 4 UFC fights in a row. He just lost the fight to Smith. He lost the fight to Taylor Lapilus, and then he lost the fight to Miles Johns, and then he lost the fight to Jonathan Martinez. So if he loses this fight, it's going to be 5 UFC losses in a row, and he'll probably be cut. So I have 2 problems with Vince Morales. Problem number 1 was that bull crap. Did you see his bull crap? Was it red hair he had in his last fight?
Yeah. And I was at my brother's place, so I didn't even get to see the fight. But I remember seeing the weigh-ins and going, "Come on, Vince, what are you doing, man?"
I knew it was over because 1, he had that crappy red hair, which looked awful, and 2, I beat the line by like a whole $1, like probably some of the most line movement I ever got on Vince Morales when he fought Elijah Smith. And yeah, in that fight, I don't know. I thought he kind of let Smith off the hook a little bit. The pressure was good, just didn't throw a ton. He did get him in a couple deep submissions in the second round, a deep submission late third, but I don't know, just wasn't all that impressed. And that fight wasn't too long ago. That has to be like a month ago, if that Elijah Smith fight.
Yeah, it was February 15th, I think. So like 5 weeks ago. Very quick turnaround for a couple guys on this card, Morales and Melky Costa.
Yeah, but Morales especially, because Morales actually did take some damage, dude. Like his face was busted up, he was bleeding. Took some damage in that Smith fight for sure. That this turnaround's way too quick, especially for a fight that's in elevation. So I don't like that for Morales. I kind of think the UFC was probably like, "Hey, listen, dude, go fight Raul Rosas Jr. on short notice, or you're getting cut." I think that might be the case here. But yeah, gotta go Raul Rosas Jr. He's a massive favorite, -350. But I don't know. It's just hard to pick Vince Morales to win a fight. I'm just not sure what Vince Morales is good at. He has okay striking, horrible volume, horrible urgency. The urgency is terrible in the UFC. Outside the UFC is a different story, but inside it's horrible. No urgency. We haven't really seen his ground game tested that much in the UFC. So yeah, this should be Raul Rosas Jr., but another big favorite. But Raul Rosas Jr., a little more trustworthy than Jamaal Emmers, but still we've seen this guy gas out. And again, we are in elevation. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, this is a 5-week turnaround, 1 month and 5 days since I did the stats for Morales to take this fight. So 34 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. And let's face it, man, Elijah Smith, right? His last fight, similar age to Rosas. The guy's very young, but he's not half the grappler or wrestler that Raul Rosas Jr. is. And Morales was getting taken down by Elijah Smith, right?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember seeing the stats, but I remember thinking to myself, shit, man. Like I thought that this would when they got into the grappling exchanges of this fight, that Vince was going to have a shot to submit him. But if he didn't, I thought he was going to be winning. I thought he was going to be getting the takedowns, getting the top control. But it was really the other way around, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, Smith had some success taking down and controlling Morales. And what I noticed really in all Morales' fights, when the fights hit the mat, he's submission over position, which I kind of don't like for him here. So he'll give up bad positions. So he'll probably get put into some tricky spots.
Yeah, and it's like, even if he does get a choke on Rosas, Rosas has been there before, I mean, like this guy, he's been on the mats grappling with adults since he was just a kid. So he's got really good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's obviously where he's most comfortable. And Vince Morales has never been known for having like phenomenal takedown defense. He's spent most of his UFC time at distance striking range. And it looked like in his first run, through the UFC that he would try to use that wrestling a little bit more. But now he's in a situation where like his striking is just kind of tepid. It's not like you said, he doesn't show a ton of urgency. He doesn't have one punch knockout power. And I don't see him winning the grappling. I mean, if you're getting out grappled in stretches by Elijah Smith, I don't think Rosas is going to have much of a problem winning the minutes and potentially moments against Vince Morales, who's lost 2 times by submission in his career. So yeah, I mean, I think it's Rosas by submission or Rosas by decision. But I think he's, I think there's a reason they're making Vince take this fight.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got I think the UFC wants to use him as a chip, as like, hey, like we're going to feed a guy like Rosas who's only 20 years old and they're trying to build as a prospect. They're consistently putting him on these Mexico cards, on these Noche cards. So yeah, it's a setup fight for Raul. We'll see if Vince can ruin the UFC's plans to try to get Raul Rosas another win here, stop some takedowns, keep it standing, win the minutes on the feet maybe. But yeah, I think this is probably going to be Raul, and I think he should probably make this look fairly easy.
Yep, right there with you. I went back and through the career of Vince Morales to see like when he's fought grapplers. He really hasn't fought many grapplers at all. Like people typically aren't trying to take him down. Smith did, like you said, 3 times. Domingo Pilarte did back in 2018, took him down in the second round and choked him out pretty easily, but that was like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty much all strikers. I mean, Luis Smoka can grapple, but Morales knocked him out in 2 minutes. We didn't really see that fight play out. So yeah, I think his ground game is going to get tested here, and I just have a feeling he's going to be put in some bad spots. Yeah, Rosas opened up minus 400. He's currently minus 350. Vince Morales opened up plus 300. He's currently plus 285. I want to kind of see what kind of hairstyle Vince Morales comes in. If he comes in with that red hair again, I might take a shot on the Rosas sub. If he comes in with a normal haircut, maybe he's able to survive the full 15. But I think that's a big piece of missing information there. The total is set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 minus 200. The under 2.5 is plus 160. So yeah, I think we're both in agreement. It should be kind of a setup spot for Raul Rosas Jr. Brady, don't ignore me. I would like to volunteer for the Loopy milking this week. Maybe you think she can milk Polastri? Get on
I
her
think
hand.
maybe he wants to milk Loopy. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh my. We got K Deep Montana with the 49.99 saying phenomenal week for me. Brady and Uncle Weezy are legends. Can't thank them enough for showing up and doing free content for the people. Just know all your work, talent, and effort never goes unnoticed. Shout out to K Deep Montana. Appreciate you so much. And yeah, we love doing it. We love this show. And hopefully the good reads keep coming. Shout out to K Deep Montana.
Very generous from the Godfather there.
Heck yeah. Driving the building. What is up? This card is weird. It is a weird card. It is a weird card. You're doing, yeah, I'm trying my best, right? And that's all you can do. Just all you can do is try your best. Try your best. What else do we have here? Dog season. It is the season of the dog. I think I saw Clint posted like 8 or 9 dogs have won the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of dogs. Anyone going to Miami? Yes. Like Andre Feely, I'm a big fan of big booty Latinas. So I'm looking forward to Miami, man. Gotta love those big booty Latinas.
Yep.
This has to be the milkiest of milkings by Rosas here. Potential milking. We'll see. Potential milking. I think there's a couple on the table here. Let's see, guys. Check the under 2.5 and Emmers Miranda. Look at Miranda's career. The line is at 1. Yeah, it is. On one of the books, they have the Miranda Emmers under 2.5 at like minus 110. Which I don't have access to it. I don't know what that book is. I think it's like SK bet or SX bet. But yeah, if you get it at minus 110, I don't think that's a bad look at all.
Agreed.
Morales by decision. Yeah, if he's winning, it is probably a decision. Stuff the takedowns, do the better work on the feet. I can't trust Morales, man. I mean, his last performance, and now he's taking a short turnaround. I don't know. All right, come on. I agree. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is going to be Christian Rodriguez going against Mel Costa. We got Christian Rodriguez, 27 years old, 5'7" with a 71-inch reach. Mel Costa, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. We have Christian Rodriguez 1 year younger. We got Mel Costa with a 3-inch height advantage, same reach there. Christian Rodriguez is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Raul Rosas Jr., decision win against Cameron Saimon, decision win against Isaac Dalgarian, submission loss to Julian Rosa, and then a decision win against Austin Bashi. Mel Costa, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission loss to Thiago Moises, decision win against Austin Lingo, knockout loss to Steve Garcia, submission win against Charlie Under Mbeke, and then a submission win against Andre Fili. Very interesting fight here. I think there's a lot of hype starting to kind of build on both these guys. Mel Costa took his debut on short notice against Thiago Moises, up a weight class, got submitted, but it is what it is. Since then he's 3-1 and had some good performances. The Lingo performance, he showcased his striking, and in the Leandro and Mbeke fight, kind of got taken down a couple times, but fought through it. Leon slowed down. He eventually got the sub in the third, and then in the Fili fight, it was a competitive fight early on. Fili goes for a takedown and gets subbed there. But yeah, I like Mel Costa. I think Mel Costa is a very solid fighter. I like the kicks, very high volume, and a sneaky submission game to go along with it. Christian Rodriguez has kind of been like the prospect killer. This guy's been an underdog a lot throughout his career, going against a bunch of undefeated guys like Bashi, Dalgarian, Saimon, and Raul Rosas, and he's been winning those fights. People seem to always count out Christian Rodriguez, but it looks like they're getting a little bit of respect on him now because he is going to be the favorite in this fight. Yeah, this fight's one of the closest line fights on the card. We don't have a ton of closely lined fights this week. I think we have 3 of them, and this is one of the 3. So this is going to probably be a fight where we're going to have a lot of people on the Rodriguez side. We'll probably have a lot of people on the Costa side. So, Weezy, what do you think about this one here?
I can't wait for this fight. I'm kind of shocked that this one isn't on the main card, to be honest with you. These are 2 of the best fighters on the card in any weight class, really. So I like what we've seen from Christian lately. The win over Austin Bashi, the win over Dalgarian, the win over Raul Rosas Jr. The win over Cameron Saimon. I mean, he's been out there and he's been winning these fights against really good prospects. And Melky Costa's, lost to Steve Garcia, but good win over Yuan. Great win over Andre Fili, where he took no damage and the fight was over very quickly. So here he is on a very quick turnaround here, about a month to fight Christian Rodriguez. And these are basically 2 really well-rounded fighters. They're both excellent on the ground. They both have really good striking. Christian looks very comfortable in there in any position on the mat or standing. He looks like he's waiting in line at the DMV. He just is somebody who's been doing this for a very long time and doesn't get shook in there. And with Costa, I mean, I love this guy's kickboxing. His kicks are phenomenal. He's coming out of the southpaw stance. He will mix in the grappling. He has the ability to do it all as well. And then you look at Melky being a year older, but he's 3 inches taller. He's got a lot more experience, which is actually kind of surprising, dude, that this guy at only 28 years old already has 29 professional fights with about 270 minutes of cage time. So, and also what I really like about Melky, same thing that I like about Rodriguez, 8 wins by submission for Melky, 7 by knockout, 7 by decision. He can do it anyway. And then you look over at Rodriguez, you got 4 wins by 5 wins by decision, 4 wins by submission, 3 wins by knockout. This is going to be a very close fight, I think. I could see both of these guys having success in the striking exchanges. I think maybe Melky is the one who maybe goes to the wrestling more, but if I were him, I would just stay standing here and try to pick Christian off when he enters the pocket. But both of these guys are good defensively, 61% distance striking defense for Rodriguez, 67.5% for Mel Costa. Costa has been dropped once, but it was Garcia. Garcia does that to people. I think this is a great fight, man. I can't wait for this one. I'm not sure who's going to win. I'm going to have to dig really deep here. But like just looking at the surface level of this fight, I think these guys are extremely well matched.
Yeah, I think they did a great job putting this one together. Christian Rodriguez opened at -135. He's currently -141. And Mel Costa opened up +115. He's currently +121. And yeah, I think it'll be close. I think the striking exchanges will be close. I do like the kickboxing, the kicks of Mel Costa. I think the pressure Rodriguez could potentially pose some problems, the nonstop forward pressure there. And then I also think it might be Rodriguez that potentially gets some top position here as well. We've seen Mel Costa taken down, controlled a little bit. And we haven't really seen many people take down and control Rodriguez outside of Jonathan Pierce, but that was on kind of short notice. Yeah, I think this will be close if there's not a finish. The over-under is set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 is minus 245. The under 2.5 is plus 195. One of the best fights on the card, and it's on the prelims, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I wonder how the elevation is going to affect this, because Costa, you know, he's had no time to prepare for this, really. I mean, like, think about it. He just fought 20, you know, like less than a month ago. So it's not like he's had a chance to do a camp at elevation here, while Christian has. And Christian just fought a couple of months ago himself, you know, against Bashi. One of the first fights of the year. You know, so yeah, this is a great one, man. This is one I can't wait to dig more into.
Yeah, it looks like Rodriguez has done this camp, or at least a good portion of it, in Mexico City. So that's good. As far as Mel Costa, I'm not sure when he got here, but have to find that out. But yeah, I know for a fact Rodriguez has been training in Mexico City the last several weeks. Costa will latch a gilly. C-Rod likes to stick his head in those. Yeah, no, C-Rod's been put in some bad spots. To his credit, he's been able to get out of most of them, but he didn't against Julian Rosa. So that would be a concern if you're on the C-Rod side, because Costa does have an opportunistic submission game. Really, both guys do. C-Rod is the favorite. What could go wrong? Yeah, this is the guy you typically do in a back as a dog. That's a good point. The disrespect for not putting C-Rod on the main card is crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I agree, Dixon. Don't forget to run up the like button. Pipe it up. Melky, the Milky. I don't know if he'll be the milking of the week, but it would make sense. Milk Costa. Could call him Milk Costa, but I don't want to make him the milk of the week against Christian Rodriguez. Let's see here. Great fight here. Yeah, great fight. Milky Milks here. We'll see. Fight goes to decision. I think it's going to be like minus 200, 225, something like that.
Yeah.
Is a Rosas guillotine that good, or is C-Rod potentially vulnerable to another gilly? No, Rosas guillotine is very good, but yeah, that could be interesting there. Could be interesting. I want to go C-Rod by split. This fight should go over. Brady's lingo is something special. What does that mean? Like my vocabulary?
Yeah, like your vernacular, you know, like some of the terms like milking, like, you know, swing dicks when you're talking about women's fights, like, you know, your lingo, like.
Oh. Yeah, I guess it is something special.
It is.
I guess it is. All right. Recency bias fade. I'll take C-Rod. That's a good point, dude. I mean, this guy, wasn't Melk pick him against Andre Fili?
I have it right here. He was
or a slight favorite,
minus 130. So he was just a slight favorite. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I was going to actually bet Mel Costa against Andre Fili. He was a dog, and then he flipped to the favorite. I just never got to it. I'm subbed him. Does he have an only? I think he might. I think I remember hearing he might have an OnlyFans. Mel Costa.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, he seems like a pretty lively cat, you know, like he's like a fun guy to be around and do this. He's only 28, 29 professional fights though. You know, he's a good veteran here.
Yeah. So I'm surprised Dixon hasn't said anything about the Dixon is even OnlyFans or not. I mean, Dixon knows. Dixon has the inside scoop on all these OnlyFans. All right, let's move on to the next fight. Yeah, this is probably the fight I could care less about because it's a short notice fight for both guys. So originally, it was supposed to be Daniel Zellhuber versus somebody, and then in steps Austin Hubbard, and then Austin Hubbard was supposed to fight Daniel Zellhuber. Zellhuber pulls out, and then in steps what's his face, MarQuel Medeiros. So kind of a short notice fight for both guys here. We'll start with Austin Hubbard. He's 33 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. MarQuel Medeiros, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 69-inch reach. We got Medeiros, who's going to be 5 years younger. Hubbard with a 2-inch reach advantage, same height between the two. Austin Hubbard, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He had a stint in the UFC, didn't go so well, got cut, came back on the Ultimate Fighter, and he lost to Kurt Hollabaugh by second-round submission. He beat Michael Figlak by decision, and then he lost a split decision to Alexander Hernandez. As far as Medeiros, he's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Had a first-round knockout win, a knee on the Contender Series against Isakov. And then he beat Landon Quinones by decision. So yeah, this is a tricky fight for me because Austin Hubbard, he's one of those dogs who is always going to be a dog. This guy, he's not really great at anything at all, but he's kind of okay everywhere. Okay striking, okay BJJ, okay wrestling. He's super tough, good cardio. He's one of those guys. He's decent. He's decent everywhere. Marquel Medeiros, he did some training at Factory X. He has been somewhere else. I forget where he's training now, but he did move and he's training somewhere else. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, he's trained with some really good guys in the past. Apparently, he just started, like his MMA debut is like just a couple years ago. So he's still fairly new when it comes to MMA, but you can just tell this guy's making a ton of improvements, and training with some very high level guys is going to do that. One thing I looked for is, what does the takedown defense of Medeiros look like? And yeah, it looks pretty good. This guy's hard to take down. He's very hard to hold down. If he does get taken down, he's good at popping back up, and he's probably going to need to keep it standing here because on the feet, Medeiros should be the much better striker. Austin Hubbard's a decent striker, but I really like Medeiros in his striking. Can be a little bit low volume, but when he does let his hands go, it's clear that he has a lot of power, solid kicks as well. So although I think Austin Hubbard is a live dog, he's a dog that will kind of fight for your money, and it's a dog that I think potentially holds some value, but I think it could end up being like a value loser in what should be a close fight. But I'm kind of leaning Medeiros to do the better work in the striking. But I don't think I'm betting on this fight. Like this fight, I just have no interest in it. And I'm actually glad Daniel Zellhuber pulled out against Austin Hubbard because that fight really shouldn't have been sanctioned at all. So, yeah, I think I'm leaning Medeiros, but minus 200 on this guy. I think it's going to be a lot closer than the line does indicate. So, Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, agreed. Hubbard is, like you say, a jack of all trades, a master of none. He's a solid fighter, solid UFC level fighter. You're not going to find a lot of holes there. He's not going to quit. He's got good cardio, and he trains at elevation a lot of the time. Now, I don't know if where Austin's doing his camp for this one. I don't know if it's at VFS or if it's in Colorado, because it might be better to do it in Colorado just because you're going to be fighting in Mexico City at elevation. So I'm not sure where he's doing his camp here. And did Medeiros go to the lab?
Yeah, that's an MMA lab.
Yep. Yeah, so that's going to be a nice place for him to get some more work because he was already at Factory X getting some good work there with some good teammates. Now he's at the labs, and he's only 28 years old. I like the kickboxing. I think it looks pretty good. He fought in Fury FC, I believe, and was putting up a pretty good record there, 9-1 as a professional. So not bad for Medeiros. And like he said, man, like these guys Hubbard was supposed to fight somebody else on the card like a week or two ago. And I believe Medeiros the same thing. And I think they just kind of got matched up as they were supposed to fight other people. So, it's hard. That brings so much variance, Brady.
Yeah.
When neither guy was supposed to fight each other, and one guy was supposed to fight 2 weeks ago, maybe another guy was supposed to fight on the London card or some shit. So they were both trying to peak at different times. Now they're going to probably have to cut weight again. It's just this is the kind of fight where, when they make this and then they slap it on the card as the last fight, it's like, shit, man, I don't want to be betting this. And I don't want to be laying minus 200 on Marquel Medeiros right now. He's on a long layoff, dude. Over a year-long layoff here. So what's going on there? Was there injuries, other stuff going on? So I don't know, man. This is a stay away from me.
Yeah, and I just don't have interest in it. Like I'm not excited. It's hard to get excited about an Austin Hubbard fight, to be honest. It's just hard. Like his fights aren't that exciting, to be honest. Kind of a meat and potatoes guy.
The Mark Madsen fight, I remember being a real banger.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a fun fight because he almost came back and beat him in the third round. He broke his jaw, actually, and Madsen had to take like a year off after that fight. And then Austin Hubbard almost had to have his leg amputated after the Kyle Prepolek fight, a fight that he won. So this dude's tough, dude. I like Austin Hubbard. He's a tough guy. He's a great fight, a great fighter. He's a fighter's fighter. So this should be a fun fight. From a gambling perspective, Brady, it's screaming, stay away, stay away.
Same. And by the way, Austin Hubbard's been training at Valley Flow Striking.
It is VFS. Okay. I wasn't sure if he was there for this camp just because, he used to train up in Denver at Elevation Fight Team when he would go out there for camps. And, it makes sense because of Mexico City, but obviously he's going to be getting great work at VFS. Those guys are absolute studs over there.
Yep. It should be interesting, but I think I lean Medeiros. Medeiros opened at minus 150. I think that's probably like more accurate, like minus 150, slight favor. Minus 200, I'm not sure. Austin Hubbard opened at plus 130, currently plus 170. So yeah, like I said, I think it might be Hubbard making this competitive, but just maybe getting outworked a little bit. And I think just the power difference is going to be big. That's what it kind of was like at the Quinones fight. In the Quinones fight, the numbers were close, but you could tell like when Medeiros lands, you can hear it, you can feel it. He has power. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. What are you guys liking in this fight here? Austin Bummard? I wouldn't call him a bum. I'm going to call him a bum.
He's got 4 UFC wins.
Yeah.
They are over guys who are 0-7, though, in the UFC. So
really? Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yikes. 0-7?
Yeah, 0-7 are the 3 guys that he's beat, or the 4 guys that he's beaten. It's Prepelec. It's the guy who quit on the stool, Max Roskopf. He got a win recently. Figlak, who's got no wins. He's 0-2, and I forget who the other guy is, but yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. Let's see. Austin has photos training with Bilal in February, not clear where he's been training since then. Yeah, as of like 2-3 weeks ago, he's been at Valley Flow, but of course he probably went to Mexico City within the last 2 weeks, you'd imagine. Showing up a tad late, but please everyone pipe up that like button, just like then we got piped last week. Just like what's a piping that we've seen recently?
Oh well, Josh Van, remember when he piped up Ray Saruya?
He didn't really pipe him up.
But it was a nice 30-27. Poor Ray was just like trying to wrestle his ass off, and Josh just wasn't having any of it.
I'm talking like a piping, like a Mario Pinto piped up Austin Lane. That's a piping. Yeah. Austin Lane unconscious, laying on the ground for a couple minutes. It was actually kind of hard to see. So yeah, pipe up the like button, just like poor Austin Lane got piped up by newcomer Mario Pinto. Hopefully has Austin Lane woken up yet?
No, I think he did, man. But God, that was a nasty knockout.
Yeah, it was disgusting. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Rafa Garcia going against Vinc Pichel. Well, the big debate this week is going to be: is it Rafa or Rafa? So let's settle the debate right now, Weezy. Is it Rafa or Rafa?
It's Rafa. It's Rafa. You got to roll that R. Because this is not. Yeah. You don't have to. It's not. You're Irish. Nobody ever going to ask you to roll an R. But this is something. It's definitely Rafa.
Yeah. So it's settled. Settled. Debate over. Let's get it right this week. Rafa Garcia going against Vinc from hell. Pichel. We got Rafa Garcia, 30 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. Vinc from hell. Pichel. He is 42 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Rafa Garcia, 12 years younger. Vinc from hell. Pichel, 3 years older and a 2-inch reach advantage. Rafa Garcia is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submitted Jesse Ronson. Lost by decision to Drakkar Close. Beat Mahashate by decision. Beat Clay Guida by decision. And lost by TKO to Grant Dawson his last time out. As far as Vinc Pichel, he's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Roosevelt Roberts. Decision win against Jim Miller. A decision win against Austin Hubbard. And then decision losses to Mark Madsen and Ismael Bonfim. So for me, this is another big stay away, I think, because for a couple reasons. The first reason is Rafa Garcia's minus 500. I mean, come on. Minus 500, it's kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, Vinc Pichel, this guy is 42 years old, almost 42 and a half. He is from hell, which that could be a plus, which means he's tough, because to be from hell, you got to be tough. To be down there, you got to be tough. So he's tough, but he hasn't fought in 10 months. 10 months. His last fight was 10 months ago. Has been very inactive, this latter half of his career. This guy has 5 fights in like the last 6 years. He has 2 fights in like the last 3 years. So He's getting up there, very inactive. Haven't seen him in a while. I don't really know what to expect from Vinc Pichel. As far as Rafa Garcia, he's 30 years old. He had a 2-year layoff. He had a 2-year layoff between the Clay Guida fight and the Grant Dawson fight, and he had like a major injury. I'm not sure if it was like a leg injury or maybe a back injury, some type of major
a neck or a back, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Like a major injury that took him out for a while. And then he shows up against Grant Dawson. And I know it's Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson's a phenomenal fighter, really good fighter in the division. But he just looked like really bad. Rafa Garcia, just from the jump, just looked a lot like really off, which is to be expected. This dude took a big layoff and had a major surgery. But I just wouldn't be laying minus 500 on this guy. But at the same time, I don't want to put money on Vinc Pichel, whether he's from hell or not. I'm staying away, dude. I want nothing to do with this. Rafa Garcia minus 500 is ridiculous. So it's one big giant pass for me. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, it's one of those things, like the market always tempts you. You say, oh, Christ, Vinc is 42. Vinc hasn't won a fight since he won the Austin Hubbard fight. And I don't know, what year was that? Let me look. I mean, like that. It was a long time ago. He beat Austin Hubbard in 2021, Brady. So that was the last time that we saw Vinc won a fight, and that was a unanimous decision. But he didn't look horrible against Ismail Bonfim.
Yeah.
I mean, and Ismail's a young man that's got really good hands and is pretty experienced, turned pro at the age of 15, for Christ's sake. So, I mean, for him to have that fight less than a year ago and actually look not bad, there could be some value, but you're going to be betting on a 42-year-old man who hasn't won since the year 2021, and he's fighting a 30-year-old in Rafa Garcia, who's, got some similar numbers in terms of his strength of schedule and his strength of UFC wins. So this is one of those things. It's all about career trajectory. And however bad, Garcia looked in his last fight, it's Grant Dawson, fighting Grant Dawson and going to Vinc Pichel, you're taking several steps down that ladder of this division. So yeah, I think that Rafa Garcia by decision, because Vinc Pichel is known to be a very durable guy. The only guy who ever knocked him out was Rustam Habilov, and it was because he was suplexing him all over the octagon, and I think like on the 7th or 8th suplex, he just drove his head right into the ground and knocked him out. So I think Pichel is going to be there for the full 15 minutes. I think he's going to this is probably going to be a pretty tepid boxing match for 3 minutes. It's probably going to play out pretty close, man. I would not be laying the juice on Garcia. You know what could be interesting? A Pichel plus 3.5 points handicap might open up, at plus 150 to plus 200, and it might be worth it because, really, in terms of where is Garcia that much better than Vinc Pichel anywhere just in mixed martial arts?
Just age.
Yeah. And that's a very important category, as is career trajectory, what you're fighting for at this point. But, this is at elevation too, and I'm interested to see how that winds up playing out here.
Well, Hell's very low elevation.
It's very low elevation, but similar heat to Mexico City.
That's true. Yeah.
And a dryness as well. It's very dry down there. Like it's like being in the Vegas desert, but Vinc Pichel, like when he's not in hell, I think he lives in Arizona, which is similar. So, he's going to be ready for the heat. He's going to be ready, but the elevation, maybe not so much.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. But minus 500, I don't see in what world he looks minus 5. I just don't. I don't see, unless Pichel is like extremely washed, which maybe that's the case. I don't know. Minus 5. I just would be shocked if he looked minus, because he's not finishing Vinc Pichel first and foremost. So yeah, we'll see. I think the plus 3.5 is a good look, because I think I'm with you. I think Pichel loses, but I think he can maybe steal a round along the way. Over 2.5, yeah, they're telling you the fight goes over at a high clip. Over 2.5 minus 275. The under 2.5 is plus 215, and I would agree. I'd be shocked if there was a finish in this one here. Yep. Let's see here. Appreciate you. Imagine if he was Rafa Tafa. Vince is the kind of old man every little boy wants to grow up to be. I don't get it.
Well, he is. I mean, you got that great mustache. It's very masculine. You've had a cool job your whole life.
Yeah.
You're from hell. Like, I mean, he's old. He's old as shit. The dude's 42 years old, and he's a welterweight. It's not a 42-year-old heavyweight or light heavyweight or female fighter. It's a 42-year-old welterweight from hell who's still, living in Arizona and fighting at a fairly high level.
Lightweight, right? Lightweight.
I'm pretty sure I said lightweight. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't make mistakes on the show.
No, we do not. We do not, ladies and gentlemen.
We don't make mistakes. He is so old. He is on parole from hell. Rafa Garcia is horrible. I don't think he's horrible, but I don't think he's like a minus. Somebody I'd lay minus 500 on. That's for sure. I could get in the Vince Pichel versus AJ Worse. Book it. I can get in the damn cage and shave Pichel's ass. That's hilarious, dude. That's hilarious. That's funny. So yeah, Vince Pichel, who has the best mustache on the card? I think it's between Vince Pichel or Gabriel Miranda.
They're both really good. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vince though. I like Vince.
Yeah, he's a good stash. Good stash. Won't be shocked if 42-year-old Gas is in Mexico City. Yep, good point. We got Iluela Andres with the $4.99. Appreciate you saying here's to hitting on the Thainara sub prop for plus 275. Keep up the good work. DFS fan for life. I hope no one has scarred you with those 100. Oh, I'm definitely scarred for life. Definitely scarred for life. Somebody, a new account. These accounts keep popping up week after week. New accounts, and somebody this week posted they spent a lot of time on this pick. Like they used Photoshop. They did a whole thing, and Andrade was in it. And I think there might have been a Rose. I don't know. I tried to look away quickly, but he put a lot of effort into the Andrade pick. He tagged me in. So new accounts are popping up left and right with these Andrade picks, and I'm getting quite sick of it. But Andres, appreciate you for the $4.99, and Thainara made the sub prop look very easy. Oh, okay.
I can't believe they're creating new accounts just to haze us. It's crazy.
It's sickening. It was Hard Rock. I thought you said I was hard as a rock for a second from the Andrade pick, which would be
no. She's saying the sub prop that she didn't get the best price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was not hard after those Andrade picks. I was the opposite of that. My family watches this show, so let's move on. They do. My mom watches the show, so maybe I need to chill out a little bit. Maybe I need to chill out on the dick swinging and the Andrade stuff. But it's a family show. We're trying to make it be. Yes. All right. Moving on to the next fight. It is Loopy Godinez going against Julia Polastri. We have Loopy, the fighter that almost retired me from doing content. Loopy Godinez, 31 years old, 5'2" at the 61-inch reach. Julia Polastri, 27 years old, 5'2" at the 63-inch reach. Julia Polastri is 4 years younger. Got the same height. Polastri with a 2-inch reach advantage. Loopy is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Had a decision win against Emily Ducote, a submission win against Elise Reed, a decision win against Tabitha Ricci, a decision loss to Verna Jandaroba, and then a decision loss to Mackenzie Dern. As far as Polastri, she has 4-1 against in her last 5 fights. She had a decision loss to Josephine Knutson. Back in the day, she had a Contender Series loss against Jasmine Jazz DeVicious, and then she just beat Corey McKenna by split decisions. So yeah, I mean, I kind of see what they're doing here. Loopy Godinez, from Mexico. Let's give Loopy an easier fight, because look at her last two fights. Mackenzie Dern, very tough matchup. Verna Jandaroba, very handsome and tough matchup. And she's just taking like an astronomical step down in competition. I like the boxing of Loopy, the volume. I like the strength, the physicality. I think she'll be able to dictate where this fight takes place. I think she can get takedowns. I like Loopy here, and I like her quite a bit. But I've vowed to never lay chalk on Loopy Godinez ever again after that Angela Hill fight. So I will not be laying chalk on her. But I would get why people are kind of steaming this line, because this line is getting steamed. Loopy, She was sitting around minus 160 yesterday. That line's long gone. She's now minus 220. Polastri is sitting at plus 185. So I like Loopy here, but if you bet on Loopy, you're betting on somebody with some questionable fight IQ. But I think she should win this fight in Mexico. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I think it's going to be close. I think Loopy fights close with a lot of people. And, I think if Loopy has a big wrestling advantage here, that there's a really good chance that she might not use it and just stay at boxing range with Polastri, who's a Muay Thai striker, who's probably going to be throwing more kicks and might even have a better chance to manage the range a little bit better against Loopy. Now, of course, with Godinez, you've got somebody who's Mackenzie Dern, Virna Jandiroba, Tabitha Ricci, Emily Ducote. There's a lot of names on her resume against really good fighters. While we've seen Polastri be out there against Alujas, she was getting smoked on the feet by Josephine Knutson until she realized, man, I better try to take this girl down. And then she found out a little bit too late in the fight that she could take her down easily. Lost that decision as a result of that. And then, a close split decision over Corey McKenna, where once again, Corey McKenna just decided not to grapple until round number 3 and lost that fight. A very close fight that could have went her way, but got cut after it, But I think Polastri's good, the fact that she almost beat Josephine Knutson, I think is a good effort. Corey McKenna's a solid win. Corey's a good fighter,
They cut Knutson as well, by the way.
Yeah, I know. She's cut, and now she's in that GFL or something like that. Yeah, that's going to be wild, but I'll try to put some money on her there because the only thing Knutson needs to work on is her open mat wrestling. It's terrible. Like most Swedish kickboxers, they don't have a lot of great open mat wrestling, but her cage wrestling's good. I think she'll win some fights. But look, this is a bit of a step up in competition. Loopy's just been in there against the much better brand of competition recently, so. This is going to be one of these fights where it's like, hey, you're getting a little bit easier of a fight, Loopy. Are you going to make it look easy? Are you going to set yourself apart? Like if you're laying, what's your line?
220.
Woo, yeah. How do you look minus 220 in a women's fight, Brady? You're either getting a finish or you're getting a 30-27, and who's Loopy Godinez going out there in 30-27?
Elise Reed.
Yeah. Who's a white belt on the ground, and Loopy went out there and wrestled her. But do you remember when we were breaking down that fight because she hadn't been wrestling? She didn't wrestle against Hill. She didn't wrestle against Ducote, and she made those fights a lot closer than they needed to be. So this is a situation where somebody in Polastri who's the same height, who's got a 2-inch reach advantage, who's 4.5 years younger, and who's a good fighter in her own right. 17 professional fights, same as Loopy Godinez. It's just Loopy has 10 more fights at the UFC level. So step up in competition because Loopy has that strength of schedule advantage. Loopy is the better wrestler here, and she's got good hands. But Julia Polastri is the kind of fighter who could keep it close because she's scrappy, she strikes well, and she can grapple a little bit as well. So I think that this is going to be close, and if this line keeps going in favor of Loopy, a Polastri plus 3.5 point spread could be a decent look this week.
Yeah, depending on the line. And by the way, have they arrested Carrie Hatley yet?
No, unless I don't know. I turn off my scanner while we're live.
Okay. Well,
but it's like I told you, arrest them. There's cops asking their dispatchers, "Hey, just saw Carrie Hatley. What are we waiting for here?" But evidently the feds. I don't know. The feds are shady, Brady. They're shady, and maybe that has something. And maybe it's coming from the top down here.
Yeah. What else is shady? Lane minus 220 on Loopy. Riddle me this: what could go wrong? Parlay of the week. What could go wrong? Jamaal Emmers, leg number 1, minus 350. Loopy Godinez, leg number 2, minus 220.
Call it bottom of the barrel fight IQ parlay. That there's no way this time that either one of them is going to make a bad decision because it's almost mathematically impossible for that many bad decisions to be made by the same fighters over and over and over again. So does Loopy not wrestle at all and just choose to make this a boxing match while Polastri's, beating her up with distance weapons? Or, is Jamaal Emmers going to shoot the first takedown?
Yeah, I have a feeling Loopy is going to strike for 15 minutes, and I have a feeling Emmers will shoot a takedown. I feel like both those things probably happen. So, poor Andre. Yeah, did you see that they're giving Andrade Jasmine Jazz the Vicious? Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh
And I mean, like, Jazz, Jasmine's not making 115. So why is Andrade moving up to 125 to take that fight? That's a terrible fight for her.
Money. Get piped for a good amount of money. I wouldn't mind that. Big Billy Latinas, yes.
Yeah.
The return of ludicrous Godinez. Yes, Loopy Godinez. Betting on Loopy is guaranteed to give you serious heartburn. Yeah, it will. Loopy all day. Poopy Loopy. Okay. What could go wrong? I wait till walk out and back the dog. Wait till walkouts and back the dog. Yeah, I think this line probably does even get wider. So we'll see. I'm not laying chalk on Loopy. I can't. I'm not doing it. Never again. Walking papers for the Loop. Yeah, if she loses this one, it'll be 3 in a row. So probably a must win for Loopy.
Yeah, she's going to get a fight against Josephine Knutson in GFL if she loses this one. So she better step it up and do the right thing here.
Yeah. Never trust a fighter with the first name Loopy. Lives up to the name. She does, dude. I'll never forget parlaying her against Angela Hill thinking, she'll wrestle. She didn't wrestle.
Nope.
All right, it is time. The
Bolivian Homer Simpson.
Yes, Jose Funky Medina going against Ateba Gautier. We got Jose Funky Medina, 33 years old, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. We got Gautier. He's 22 years old, 6'4" with an 81-inch reach. We got Gautier, who's 9 years younger, 4-inch height advantage and a 7-inch reach advantage. Jose Medina, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Had a contender series loss to Magomed Gadjalasulov and then a decision loss against Zach Reese in his debut. As far as Gautier, he is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. All of them, as you can see, by knockout. Had a second-round knockout win on the contender series. The fight probably could have been stopped several different occasions, but I think it might have been Kerry Hatley who finally eventually stopped the fight late second round there. So, yeah, this fight's going to be very hilarious. I'll never forget the night that Jose Medina got signed to the UFC. I remember watching the contender series and, listening to Dana, and Dana said he's going to sign this guy. And I thought right there, then and there, that's the worst signing in Dana White's contender series history. Like, how are you about to sign Jose Medina after his performance against Gadjalasulov, who quite frankly is not good? I think Gadjalasulov just got cut even. But Gadjalasulov goes out there and 30-27 him. The fight isn't remotely close. He gets beat up for 15 minutes, but he's smiling, right? He's smiling. He's having fun. He's showing some toughness in there. He's waving him on. But he lost 30-27 on all 3 judges' scorecards to a bum in Gadjalasulov. And Dana signs him. Think about all the fighters that are good that Dana hasn't signed throughout the years. It was very, very questionable signing. And as expected, he lost his debut. And now they're giving him Gautier, who, quite frankly, he's very young. He hasn't really fought the best competition in the world. But what I do notice from Gautier is this guy hits like an absolute truck. He kind of reminds me of Abdulrazak Al-Hassan, just pure power and a ton of it. What'd you say? He can knock out a brick wall. He can put his fist through a steel. What'd you say?
Yeah, like a stone. Like he can just put his fist through stone. This guy looks like he was carved out of marble, and he hits like he's from Cameroon and he hits like Ngannou. I mean, like this guy's got real power.
Yeah, man. And that's what makes this fight interesting because Jose Medina is probably one of the most hittable fighters in the UFC. He's going to get hit a lot here. And I think a lot of people are going to look at this fight as, Medina's very tough. So if this fight does get extended, we could see Gautier, slow down and gas out, which that may be true. But I don't know. I don't know if Medina is going to be able to eat punches against this guy. Like, I'm just not sure. He was able to eat punches against Gajilasulov, who's never finishing anybody. Zach Reese, he is dangerous, but I think Gautier hits harder than Zach Reese and Gajilasulov combined. I mean, this guy's power is no joke. So, yeah, I think the way to play this is probably like a Gautier round 1, round 2 KO, or maybe wait to live bet Medina. Maybe Medina late pros, but I don't think Medina's ever winning a UFC fight. I just can't imagine it. I just can't imagine him winning a fight. I'm just not sure what he's good at. Is he a good striker? Not really. Is he a good grappler? No. I don't know what he's good at. Like, he's tough, but when we're talking about your only good attribute being toughness, there's a serious problem. There's a serious problem. So I like Gautier here, but you look at the line and minus 420 on a guy who's only 22, 23, making his debut. What could go wrong? In elevation, a lot. So I don't know. I think I might look at props for this one, but I got to go Gautier. And I think maybe it's a hot take, but I think he's the first one to knock out the Bolivian punching bag and Jose Medina. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, this is going to be that's why I said at the beginning of the show, I'm happy they made this fight because it's going to be really fun to watch from a fan perspective, But like, there's only a couple of ways that this fight's going to go, and Vegas knows that, and the market knows that. Nobody's betting Jose Medina to get a first round submission here. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's thinking that this fight's going to go 15 minutes in elevation. It's kind of like either Gautier goes out there and does what he does and just destroys this dude, or he gets Homer Simpson and he gets tired at elevation when there could already be an adrenaline dump, when there could already be nerves. This guy's from the Cameroon. He trains in the United Kingdom, and he's flying to Mexico City for his UFC debut. You want to talk about a culture shock, completely different part of the world, completely different language than you're used to hearing, and you're making your UFC debut in front of a guy who might not be able to be knocked out, who doesn't really have anything else going for him, but he is just ridiculously durable. I mean, like, Zach Reese absolutely liquefied Medina's liver. That guy could never have an alcoholic beverage for the rest of his life, otherwise he'll die, because he got kicked in the liver 17 consecutive times. And I mean, like, it looked like he wanted to shit himself in there, but he just kept going and kept smiling. And he's like waving you on and pointing to the ground. And he's getting punched in the face over and over. Grady, his distance striking defense is 43.6%.
Oh, God.
43% accuracy is really good. 43% defense is so far behind, below the average of, like what it should be at this division against slow fighters that aren't very accurate. They're accurate as shit when Jose Medina is standing in front of them. I mean, if this guy gets 7 shades of shit beaten out of him in the first round and survives, and you see Gautier go back to his stool looking completely gassed, I'm telling you, the scenes, Brady, the fucking scenes are going to be incredible. Because the one loss that Gautier has in his career, he fought this Welsh dude that had a head like an Easter Island statue, and he beat the fuck out of him for the first 5 minutes. The referee didn't stop the fight, and Gautier was dead in the second round, and he lost the second and the third on the judges' scorecards and lost a split decision to this guy. I think his name was Williams or something like that. Let me look here real quick.
How long ago was that fight?
So that fight was not that long ago, dude. It was his second pro fight, but it was in July of 2022. So this kid hasn't been fighting for long.
Yeah.
And it was in Budo Fighting Championship. And Glenn Williams was 0-0. And Glenn Williams right now is 1-0.
Hey.
So he hasn't even fought since that fight. He was like, I'm retiring undefeated after after barely beating this guy in rounds 2 and 3 because I Homer Simpsoned him. So yeah, Glenn Williams did get a win, and he got a win via Homer Simpson. So it's going to be a fun fight. But like, I think even if Gautier gets tired, I'm really not sure how Medina's getting him out of there. Maybe he gets a body lock takedown and finishes with ground and pound or something, but I don't think he's finishing on the feet. The guy's got no power.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know what he's good at. I'm not sure.
I mean, besides durability and just, could hit this guy in the head with a 2x4 and you probably wouldn't even feel it. He's just not that great at MMA. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be a hilarious fight. Medina KO 2-3 gonna feed generations. Yeah, there'll be massive numbers. Luckily for Gautier, young unproven prospects from Africa have looked great this month. That's true. We saw Musasa go out there and look great against, get outstruck by Carlos Ferreira. Get head kicked.
You're getting a highlight reel head kicked by a Colombian kickboxer. Or is it Venezuelan? I forget. I forget whether Venezuelan or Colombian. They got very similar flags, but it's Venezuelan, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
Venezuelan kickboxer is sleeping your ass.
Not a good look. Funky Medina is about to get his ass shaved.
Yeah, I think so.
Jose Funky Cold Medina. Gautier at Elevation is a recipe for disaster. And Medina does train at Elevation, I believe.
Yeah, well, he lives in Bolivia, dude. That's way the hell up there. We call it cocaine country. You're way up there in the mountains.
Yeah, and I think this is I think the smart thing would be to wait and see, who's reffing this fight. Is it Jason Herzog? If it's Jason Herzog, you better unload the clip on Jose Medina, because damn well Jason Herzog's not stopping the fight. He didn't stop the fight whenever Zhang Weili submitted Yan Xiaonan, and then she TKO'd her, no stoppage. So we could see, like, if Jason Herzog's reffing, I think Medina's very, very live. I think it comes down to the ref, right? Like if it's a Tyone, the fight probably gets stopped. Like a Herb Dean, he'll stop the fight. But Jason Herzog, you need to kill somebody to get him out of there if Herzog's reffing. So yeah, that's very important, I think. Does Gautier train at the Elite Training Center with Musasa?
No, he does not. He trains at Manchester Top Team. He's done all of his work in fighting in Europe so far, while Musasa really was coming out of that Central African regional scene. It's a big difference in terms of level of competition.
Yeah. We got Jackie Paper. Hey, fellas, love the show. Appreciate you, Jackie. Thank you for stopping by. Wait until everyone sees how ripped Medina looks on Friday, like Yanesi's Duben. Line is going to come crashing down. Yeah, Medina looks to be in the best shape of his career. He looks in very, very good shape.
Yeah, well, he was 205 for that Gadzia Sulov fight, and then they told him, like, hey, if you're going to come to the UFC, you're going to have to fight at 185, and he went down to 185 for the Reese fight, and yeah, he'll be there again for this one.
Does Brandon Weezy have OnlyFans? No, we do not. We don't have OnlyFans. Oh boy. Brady, I'm really disappointed in you for not singing Funky Cole Medina for the Medina Gautier fight. I did post a Medina hype video.
No good.
Medina on Twitter, so you can guys go check that out. It hyped me up. It hyped me up.
This fight's gonna be awesome, Brady.
Is it? Wait, what? No, it's not.
Yeah, it is, dude. This fight's gonna be awesome.
No, this comment. The fight's gonna be awesome.
Oh, yeah. The fight's gonna be awesome, but Cameroon's 17,000 feet. Is it really?
I don't know. I'm not an elevation expert, but that seems like a lot.
That seems way high.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like, Colombia's got some serious elevation. I think the most it gets up to is like 12,000 feet.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not an elevation expert.
Neither am I.
I'm trying to find Medina's Instagram, but I can't. What's his nickname, or what's his name on Instagram?
Chicho. Chicho, I think, is the nickname.
What is it?
Chicho. Chicho.
Okay.
Bolivia, stand up.
I still can't find it. So I don't know. I have to dig a little bit more. I wanted to see if any hype videos or anything showing up, but no. All right, let's move on to the next fight. And it's going to be hard to top that one, I'll tell you that. But it is Edgar Chairez going against CJ Vergara. We got Chairez, 29 years old, 5'7" with a 72-inch reach. CJ Vergara, 33 years old, 5'6" within a 68-inch reach. We got Edgar Chairez, 4 years younger. He's going to have a 1-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. Edgar Chairez is 2-1 no contest his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Tatsuro Taira, lost that fight by decision. Had a no contest against Daniel Lacerda, submission win against Daniel Lacerda, and then a decision loss to Joshua Van in a very fun competitive fight. CJ Vergara is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Had a submission loss to Tatsuro Taira, a knockout win against Daniel De Silva, decision win against Vinicius Salvador, decision loss to Asim Abayev, and then a knockout loss to Ramazan Temirov. So, yeah, this should be a good fight here. I like Edgar Chairez. I think he's a very skilled fighter. I just kind of wish he would use all the tools in his toolbox, because this guy's submission game is absolutely no joke. He has actually finished the majority of his wins by submission, but I went and watched a ton of this guy's fights, and he just doesn't shoot takedowns ever. I think I saw him shoot 1 takedown in like all the tape I watched. 1 takedown, and it was like 10 seconds left in like a round. So he doesn't offensively wrestle, but when guys shoot in on him, it's over. More often than not, it's over. He'll snatch up your neck. He'll snatch up an arm. We saw in the Lacerda fight. We've seen in some other fights. If guys take him down, he will look for that sub, hunt for that sub, and get it more often than not. So, yeah, the submission game I love. And, yeah, he's a decent striker as well. Very long, very rangy, decent volume as well. I think Edgar Chairez is tough as well. Mexico, training at Entron Gyms. Yeah, I think Edgar Chairez is pretty good. CJ Vergara, another one of these guys who I just think is, a tough guy, solid cardio, decent striking. I don't know. This fight's going to be interesting. I like Chairez here. This line got smoked though. I thought Chairez was like minus 200. Yeah, he's minus 220. He went all the way down to minus 330, but it looks like it's back to minus 280. I like Chairez here. I'm just not sure how it's going to go. Like I could see a decision here. I could see a submission, but I'm just not sure if this fight hits the ground. But yeah, I think I would like Chairez a lot more if I could count on him to grapple, but I can't. So I don't know. I like Chairez to get it done though. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I like Chairez here. I think he's going to fuck him up. The thing about Vergara is that he's first of all, he's small for the division. Second of all, he brings a lot of pressure, but he doesn't have crazy power. So he's the kind of guy who can wear you out if you have poor conditioning, if you have poor durability, if you don't have much heart. CJ can, walk you down and break you, start to make you doubt yourself halfway through the fight, start to hurt you halfway through the fight and make you find the door late. But that's not Chairez. This guy, he just doesn't really get that tired. He's got 5-round experience. He's got a ton of heart. He's got a ton of durability. And, he's 1 inch taller. He's got a 4-inch reach advantage. He's 4.5 years younger than this guy. And I think he's the much better grappler. But I think that this fight's going to take place at distance striking range. And, sometimes you back a fighter and you win, but then you're like, holy shit, like that wasn't great. I backed this guy against Vinicius Salvador, Brady. And I wasn't happy with the result. I thought that in a guy in Vergara who used to be able to be counted on to be a pressure fighter at all times, he stood in front of Vinicius and played a range striking game with him, and he barely won a 29-28 there. He lost a round to that guy. So if you're losing a round to Vinicius Salvador at distance striking range, are you going to beat Edgar Chairez? I don't think so, dude. This guy's younger. He's faster. He's longer. I think he's even faced a little bit better brand of competition up at this level. Guys like Van and Taira. While Vergara's lost to really good fighters like Taira and Temirov and Almabayev, but his wins are over just, Daniel Lacerda, who basically was the only guy that almost lost to Daniel Lacerda, and probably would, if it was anybody but Herzog in the cage, that fight would have been over.
Yeah.
He was running away at full speed from Daniel Lacerda, a guy that fucking Chairez beat him twice, just shaved his ass twice. So I'm not sure, how does CJ win this fight? He's never shot a takedown. He's got no grappling upside at all. He doesn't have much power. He's shorter and he's less long. And I think he's got less power than Edgar does. So I'm not sure how he wins this fight, dude. I think that this is going to be Edgar. And I think they're bringing in CJ to do what he does best, which is lose to anybody with a pulse.
Yeah, and I think Chairez wins. Yeah, he doesn't really slow down outside of the Carpenter fight. I'm not sure what happened there, but he did slow down very badly on the Contender Series fight. But yeah, other than that, he has been 5 rounds. Did he win? I remember he had a fight finished by submission in the 5th round. Did he win or lose that against?
He lost it to Jesus Aguilar. He got put in
okay.
Jesus's. That was like a UWC title fight, and he got caught in Aguilar's guillotine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm leaning Chairez here. He opened up as a minus 220 favorite, now minus 280. Vergara opened up plus 190, currently plus 240. The over-under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 minus 150. The under 2.5 is plus 120. This is a really tricky one for me because Vergara is really tough. He is very... I know, what's his name? Temirov knocked him out, but Temirov has a ton of power. And I think if Chairez is finishing this fight, I kind of think it's submission, but the fight has to hit the ground for him to get a sub, and I'm not sure if it does because he doesn't wrestle, and Vergara doesn't wrestle, so I could see this fight actually going the distance. But yeah, I don't know, kind of a tricky total, and it did get smashed, though. It opened up plus 210. It's now plus 120, so a lot of steam has came in on the under.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised, because I don't think Vergara is that good. And Chairez is somebody who is very dangerous wherever the fight goes.
Yep. Let's see. If Vergara manages to put Chairez on his back, he's winning that round. Chairez makes no effort to get back to his feet. That is true. But Vergara just doesn't wrestle. And I don't think it'd be wise for him to.
Yeah, and Vergara's never even attempted a takedown in the UFC yet.
Yeah, that's kind of why I don't love the under, because I want the fight to hit the mat if I bet an under. Because I love Chairez's submission game. I really do. It's very dangerous, but I'm not sure if it hits the ground. Would you rather get milked or piped? I'd rather get milked if I had to pick one.
Too.
If I had to pick one. But yeah. Didn't he slow down against Joshua Van? Yeah, but everybody slows down against Joshua Van.
Yeah, that's a terrifying pace that Van puts on anybody. Ton of body work too. While CJ, look at the distance striking numbers for CJ. His output is actually below, right at average for the division. It's not enough to like really fucking slow somebody down.
Yeah,
even at elevation.
Yep, this next fight is going to be good, though. It is Ronaldo, Lazy Boy Rodriguez going against Kelvin Borjas. We got Rodriguez, 25 years old, 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. Borjas, he's not 37, is he? There's no way.
Let me look. I got 12.687, but it's probably 12.697.
Yeah, I don't think he's 37 at flyweight. Wild.
Yeah, 12.697. Yeah, so I got to fix that.
All good. I'm glad he's not 37 at flyweight. That's good news for him. So he is 27 years old, 5'5" with a 68-inch reach. We got Rodriguez 2 years younger. Rodriguez with a 1-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach disadvantage. We have Rodriguez, who is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Dennis Bondar, won that fight by second round submission, beat Ode Osborne by decision. As far as Kelvin Borjas, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Had a close fight on the Contender Series against Victor Diaz, where Diaz took him down a lot, controlled him, but he did more damage. Gave the win to Borjas there. Made his debut against Joshua Van, lost that fight by decision, and then got his ass shaved against Alessandro Costa here. Yeah, I think this is actually probably going to be one of the more exciting fights on the card from like a fan perspective here. These guys are 2 guys that are going to bring it. Both guys are down to go in there and brawl and swing dicks a little bit. I kind of lean Rodriguez here, though. I just think he has more ways to win. I think he's going to have a massive advantage in terms of the grappling if he's able to get the fight down to the ground. We saw Rodriguez very close to finishing Ode Osborne in that second round. The fight borderline could have been stopped. The fight borderline could have been stopped in the first round, too, when Ode knocked him down. But, yeah, the dude's super tough. He has good cardio, a Mexican guy as well, which I like. So I do lean Rodriguez, but Borjas, he's a very good striker. I think when this fight's on the feet, he's going to look a lot better. Rodriguez is kind of a walking punching bag. But, yeah, we'll see. I think it's a really fun fight here, though. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think you got to back the hometown fighter here. That's a little bit hotter right now, a little bit younger, and the guy that the UFC looks to be looking to back. I mean, you don't put like some 24-year-old kid on the Noche card for no reason. You're trying to get this guy, and he was on the main card. Remember that? I think they
Yeah.
kicked it off with Osborne versus Rodriguez there. Either that or it was the feature prelim. So this is a kid that, the Mexican crowd is definitely going to be behind. And I think they're trying to find him somebody that he could get a win against, because I think the striking is going to be pretty good for him there. But I think that they're going to look for him to have some grappling success in this fight like he had in the Osborne fight. He's got really good Brazilian jiu-jitsu, very opportunistic. And when he gets takedowns, he can put people in bad spots. And that's something that we're going to see from Borjas be a little bit of a problem, as we saw it on his against Renzo Mendez in Combate. We saw him get submitted back in the day. And then we also saw him, get finished by Costa here up at this level. So Ronaldo's a good fighter, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has in this spot. But I think the elevation favors him because he's a Mexico guy, and I think he's been training in Mexico City. And Borjas is somebody that I think, dude, he was a plus 300 underdog to Victor Diaz on Dana White's Contender Series. So it kind of shows you, like, even coming into that Contender Series fight against a guy that's not UFC level, the market had made Borjas, with his pre-Dana White Contender Series resume, a plus 300 underdog to an aging grappler in the bantamweight division that was kind of one-dimensional. So I think when people saw that Borjas could keep that fight standing, or at least limit the success of Diaz on the ground, they maybe thought that his striking was a little bit better than what it was. And obviously he wasn't going to beat Josh Van on the feet, and then Alessandro found a way to finish him. So Borjas is very cold right now, and as a result, at only 27 years of old, if he's still making improvements, and if he can keep this fight standing, I think he's going to have a little bit of success on the feet against Ronaldo Rodriguez. So it's an interesting spot, because with this guy Borjas only being 27 years old and getting better still at this point in his career, he could bounce back. And it's against a 25-year-old fighter who's still largely unproven. Wins over Ode Osborne and Dennis Bondar at this level don't get you goated right away. And just because the UFC doesn't want you to win, it doesn't mean that Kevin Borjas doesn't have other plans here. So I think that this fight could play out kind of close, especially if Borjas can have the same kind of success limiting the grappling upside of Ronaldo Rodriguez like he did in the Victor Diaz fight. And if he's able to do that, this could get greasy and close.
Yeah, it's one of the three closest fights on the card. We have Rodriguez opened up minus 225, currently minus 146. Borjas opened at plus 190, currently plus 226. I kind of think this line's going to keep closing throughout the week. I think this might close closer to a pick 'em, just my guess. Kind of looks where it's trending here. But yeah, I mean, on the feet, I do favor Borjas quite heavily, to be honest, because this dude Rodriguez, I think his striking is okay, but he's so hittable. Like he eats punches with his face. But I just think that if this fight does hit the ground, Rodriguez, he's a black belt. He's no joke on the mat. And I like the cardio. I think the elevation heavily favors him in this matchup. So I kind of lean Rodriguez, but I kind of want to see where the line goes as well. The over under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 200. The under 2.5 is plus 160. We'll talk about the Chandler Patty fight in a couple weeks. Can't wait for that one. I have a huge play on Borjas here. Borjas keeps it standing and lights Rodriguez up, won't be close, and that's on the table. If you can keep the fight standing, I like your chances there. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne was in the main event of UFC 306. Yeah, the main card of UFC 306, and this is kicking off the main card of UFC Mexico. Borjas can beat Rodriguez and Ode in the same night. Borjas has no power, poor cardio, and no grappling. I agree with the poor cardio and no grappling. I think he has a little bit of power, but I don't think he has enough power to knock out Rodriguez. You need a shovel to knock out Rodriguez. Lazy boy smash spots. We got the dog father in the building. What is up? You guys figured you'd be late.
Come on.
That'd be very late. That'd be 2 hours. That'd be bad.
Really, 2 hours.
Oh my gosh. No, we're not late ever. If anything, we're early. If anything, we're early. All right. Moving on. to the next fight. It is David Martinez going against Saimon Oliveira. We got David Martinez, 26 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Saimon Oliveira, 33 years old, 5'4" with a 72-inch reach. Martinez is 7 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, and a 6-inch reach disadvantage. David Martinez, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Had a Contender Series win. His last time out looked pretty good against Xavier Franklin. Fight was, somewhat competitive, but clearly got the win there. As far as Saimon Oliveira, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He had a decision win, split on the Contender Series against Jose Alde. Close fight there, could have went either way. A decision loss against Tony Gravely in his debut, and then a knockout loss against Daniel Marcos in the second round there. So this is a very interesting fight. We have another Contender Series guy, Weezy, and he's making his debut, and he is minus 400. Minus 400 here for David Martinez. And I think David Martinez is very good. Very good striker, opportunistic finisher, tons of head kicks. I've seen multiple head kick knockouts, really good cardio, really good volume, mixes it up really well to the head, to the body, to the legs. I think David Martinez could be pretty good. And it's one of those things where I think they are really trying to get him a win here. They're giving him Saimon Oliveira, who I don't know where this guy's been. Went to his Instagram. This dude hasn't posted. Like, his last post was a post with Josie Nunez was in it. I think he was cornering Josie Nunez. Like, it was like 2.5, 3 years ago, this post on Instagram. Hasn't posted since then, and we haven't seen this guy fight in a very long time. It has been 2 years and 2 months since we've seen Saimon Oliveira. Now he's 33, almost 34 years old. Nobody's heard from the guy in how many years. I kind of think they're just bringing him here to get his ass shaved. So, I like David Martinez, and I don't know. This fight just makes no sense to me. I don't get it. I don't know what Oliveira's been doing. I don't know what's with the layoff. Was he hurt? I don't know, but I think Martinez are kind of setting him up here. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly what it looks like. But and Martinez is a karate style striker. His sister is Melissa Martinez, who's also in the UFC, making them the first brother-sister tandem in the UFC here right now. That was something that the Cortezes were trying to do with Tracy and her brother Reyes, but Reyes just kept getting horrible matchups like Peyton Talbot and Christian Rodriguez on Dana White's Contender Series, so he never got to the UFC. So this guy is a good striker. He's a karate style striker. He's going to move laterally a lot. He's got a lot of good kicks, but he's not the highest volume. He's knocking out some of these guys like Cisco Rivera and Arturo Vergara, and he's takes until the 4th round to get rid of guys like Axel Osuna and Jose Zarauz. I don't know about this guy. For me, I see a lot of 29-28 decision wins where they're kind of point fighting battles, and maybe he stuffs some takedowns, but the guy's grappling game is pretty much an unknown. And Saimon Oliveira's got a ton of submissions on his record. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how David is going to deal with what I think is going to be pretty relentless pressure from Saimon. I think Simon's going to try to initiate grappling exchanges here to test that part of David's game. And frankly, we just don't have a lot of information. I saw David get a trip takedown in the 4th round of the Axel Osuna fight. And I remember I was like on my 3rd fight, and I go, holy shit, he just got a takedown. I said it out loud while I was watching the fight because I had not seen him grapple offensively at all once in all of his tape up until that point, the 4th round of a 5-round fight. So I need to see some stuff out of Martinez. Number one, I need to see how the striking translates at this level. The fact that you're beating these guys on the regional scene doesn't mean much to me. And I see him running a lot. I see him not pressuring. I see him being like this karate type striker who wants the aggression of his opponents to set up his own strikes. So I don't know, man. I'm not sold on this kid yet, but Saimon Oliveira on a 2-year layoff at 33 years of age? Yeah, almost 34 years of age. And then seeing him, jump 14 guillotines against Gravely in that fight, it was pathetic. while he kept getting put on his back. So I don't know how many tricks Simon Oliveira has in his own sleeve, but this guy's finished 16 of his 18 wins. He is opportunistic, and he can force a fight here, while Martinez, I think, is going to want a little bit more of a pretty range management, point fighting kickboxing match. If Simon doesn't oblige him in that and brings 3 rounds of cardio in Mexico City's elevation, I think you can make this fight interesting.
Yeah, potentially. Let's see if he shows up, man. I don't know. Haven't heard from him. Nobody's seen him. I don't know what he's been up to. It's
Neither
weird.
do I, dude.
Long layoff.
No,
long layoff for the guy.
Very long layoff. 2 years is very, very concerning at any point in your career. But when you're already in your almost your mid-30s and you're a bantamweight, that becomes even more concerning.
Yeah. So we have Martinez opened up -270, currently -400. Simon Oliveira opened up +230, currently +300. The over-under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 -135. The under 2.5 is +105. The under's actually gotten smashed. Weezy, the under opened up at +161. It's now +105. I would just caution everybody, like, if you can get those extra 2.5 minutes, I think they might be important, because this guy Martinez, a lot of his finishes do come later in fights. Yeah. So I would, if I was to take a violent stance, which I'm probably not at this point, I would take the fight doesn't go to get those extra 2.5 minutes. Could come into play, but yeah, it's gonna be minus money for the fight doesn't go, which I'm not too interested in. So, yep, I like Martinez, but probably not going to get to a bet on this one here. Simon Oliveira sucks. Stop the cap. What are we capping about? Are we capping?
I don't even know what that means, dude. I'm old. Like the cap, I don't know what that means.
Okay. It means like lying. So stop lying, something like that.
Okay, all right.
Dover or Torres, we'll talk about that fight very shortly. Pipe the like button. I agree. This is the guy with the entourage photos. Somebody needs to take this guy's phone away from him, man. We need to confiscate your phone, dude. Entourage pictures in there. Oh, come on. Let's delete those pictures, man. All right. Moving on to the next fight. It is Kelvin Gastelum going against Joe Pyfer. We got Kelvin Gastelum, 33 years old, 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. Joe Pyfer, 28 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. Pyfer, 5 years younger. Pyfer's going to have a 5-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. Gastelum is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. A decision loss to Robert Whitaker. Decision loss to Jared Cannonier. Decision win against Chris Curtis. Submission loss to Sean Brady. And then a decision win against Daniel Rodriguez. As far as Joe Pyfer, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Did knockout win against Alan Amadovsky, knockout win against Gerald Mearshart, submission win against Abdulrazak Al-Hassan, decision loss to Jack Hermanson, and then a knockout win against Marc-Andre Barrios. So I could have sworn I saw like a whole big thing. Kelvin Gastelum is cutting down to welterweight. He's going to fight at welterweight. Kind of made a big deal out of it, and everybody's excited. Finally. But this fight's at middleweight, so I guess a change of plans for Kelvin Gastelum. No longer trying to cut down to welterweight, where he should be fighting. So yeah, middleweight fight here for Kelvin Gastelum once again, and he's just going to be very undersized. Like always, he's going to be at a 5-inch height disadvantage. Pyfer's gonna be much bigger, much stronger. So I think like this fight could look competitive up until it's not type thing. And Kelvin Gastelum's a very durable guy. But Pyfer does hit like an absolute truck. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Pyfer potentially be the first person to knock out Gastelum. We have seen Gastelum dropped a lot. Adesanya dropped him a ton. Been dropped in some other fights. But, I think Joseph Pyfer has a ton of power, crazy power. And then I also feel like Pyfer in this matchup potentially has a path in terms of getting this fight down to the ground. Obviously, we saw his teammate Sean Brady do it, and Joe Pyfer is nowhere near Sean Brady in terms of wrestling, grappling. But we've seen Gastelum taken down. We've seen him submitted. I think Pyfer has multiple paths here. But we are in elevation, which kind of scares me for Pyfer. But I gotta lean his way. He's a big favorite, like a lot of these fighters on this card. I kind of like Pyfer, but I might attack it from like a prop perspective. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, fun matchmaking here, because you expect Pyfer to finish fights, and then with Gastelum, you got a guy who's basically impossible to knock out. Now, he's been submitted 3 different times in the UFC and 9 losses, but Gastelum's got a legendary chin. So it's going to be interesting to see if Pyfer can hit this dude hard enough to actually get him out of there, because it looks like Gastelum's on his way out. You're asking why he's not fighting at welterweight, Brady? Because he showed up 15 fucking pounds heavy for his last fight. He was supposed to fight Daniel Rodriguez at welterweight. This fat prick shows up and says, I can't make 170. I can't make 175. I can't even make 180. Why don't we just do it at middleweight? He literally, I'm not joking. That's not a joke. And this is not a guy. I don't want to hear that he's got dense fucking bones. He eats too many fucking tacos. That's all there is to it. You know, this guy is not making 170 because he's not disciplined. And I think of it kind of like a Kevin Holland type scenario. Why shouldn't Kelvin Gastelum, who's a professional mixed martial artist, be fighting at 170 pounds? Why? Because he likes getting hit by guys like Joe Pyfer? You might as well enjoy it, because it's going to happen. This guy hits hard, and you don't want to be cracked in the face by Joe Pyfer, but this is his life now. He's back up here at 185 because he blew it. And now he's 33 years old. He's got 23 UFC fights since the year 2013. So this guy's been very, very active. And he's a solid boxer. He's got good takedown defense. He's a solid grappler. He's a guy that's been very efficient in the grappling exchanges. He's fought some of the best level of competition that there is to offer in both 170 and 185. And, you know, we all know who Kelvin Gastelum is, but is he going to out-wrestle Joe Pyfer and win the fight that way? No, probably not. Is he going to outbox Joe Pyfer and win minutes? I think that's a possibility, right? We saw Hermanson do it, but we saw Hermanson do it in a 5-round fight after losing rounds 1 and 2 because Joe Pyfer's got more power and because it's extremely difficult to close distance and land on Joe Pyfer simply because you know what's coming back your way. He's got crazy power. And while Gastelum has only been knocked down once in 23 fights outside of the Adesanya fight, where I think he was knocked down 5 times officially. He's a guy that's very difficult to knock down or knock out. But then again, you know, it's getting to that point now. You know, let me tell you how many significant strikes Kelvin Gastelum has absorbed. 1,089. Tick-tock, Brady. Tick-tock. Father Time is undefeated, and eventually this dude is going to get knocked out, just like Max Holloway did. And when you keep absorbing that kind of punishment and you're doing it up a weight class when you should be fighting down at 170 against guys that don't have as much power, eventually it's going to happen. And with a guy like Pyfer, you got to expect that this might be the time.
Yeah, it could. And I think that's what people are thinking as well, which is kind of sucks because I thought it might be like a hot take. Oh, Pyfer's going to finish in Gastelum, but no, this under is getting crushed. The under 2.5 opened up at plus 130. It's now minus 110. The over 2.5 is now minus 120. Pyfer opened up minus 275. He's now minus 340. Gastelum opened up plus 235. He's now plus 280. Pyfer actually got as wide as minus 550. That was, I think, yesterday, the day before. He's minus 550. So some money has came in on Kelvin Gastelum, but yeah, I got to go Pyfer here. Like I said, the elevation does worry me a tad, but I think it could either hurt Gastelum. I think he can mix in takedowns. I like him to win the fight. Just not sure how. I could see any method for Pyfer here. I could see a decision, damage-based decision. I could see a potential submission. Gastelum's been submitted a few times, and I could see him being the first person to knock out Gastelum as well. So I like Pyfer here. Just not sure how I'll play it yet. Let's see. Pyfer's getting pifed. Pifed? What's pifed? I know what piped is. I don't know.
Yeah. Pife?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he going to be known as Joe Puffer in Mexico? Might consider Gastelum. He's an okay wrestler. You love those picks, Brady. It's good for late night viewing. It's not. It's terrible. If anything, it gives you nightmares and you can't sleep. I'm scared for both at elevation. Yeah, that's a good. Like we could get like a sloppy, fight where they're both gassed, kind of like the Luke Rockhold Paul Costa fight. Remember that one? How sloppy that was, so sloppy. They were so sweaty and bloody. Oh, just be like a sloppy fight. I had a max bet on 19-year-old Gastelum around plus 350 in his UFC debut against Uriah Hall. He had potential, but he ate it away. Yeah, man, he did have potential. He's just big boned. I would have to wait until face-offs. Gastelum was plus 400 yesterday in Vegas. He's plus 275 today. Yes, the money has came in on Kelvin Gastelum. All right, let's move on to the co-main event, and what a co-main event it is. We got to give props to the matchmakers here because this fight's going to be freaking phenomenal. It has Manuel Torres going against Drew Dober. We got Manuel Torres, 29 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. Drew Dober, 36 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Manuel Torres is 7 years younger. Manuel Torres has a 2-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Torres, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win on the Contender Series against Colton England. A knockout win against poor Frank Camacho in his debut. Knockout win against poor Nicholas Mota with that disgusting elbow, one of the nastiest elbows you'll see. Submission win against Chris Duncan, and then a knockout loss against Ignacio Bahamondes. As far as Drew Dober, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Bobby Green. Knockout loss to Matt Frivola. Knockout win against Ricky Glenn. Decision loss to Renato Moicano. Then a knockout loss against Gene Silva. So first look, I'm like, man, this is Drew Dober all day. This is Drew Dober all day. This is a levels fight. I really like Drew Dober here. After looking into it, I think I still do lean that way, but I have some major concerns. And here's the list of them. Drew Dober's getting up there, man. He's 36 and a half years old. And we know Drew Dober. He's taken a ton of damage. Every time Drew Dober fights, more often than not, it's a war, and he's going to take damage in that war. This guy does he have almost 40 fights? 42 fights. 42 fights. And it's like Drew Dober has been or was known for like being one of the most durable fighters in the UFC. But nowadays it's like he got knocked out by Matt Frivola. Once that chin gets cracked, it's all downhill from there. And it got cracked in the Frivola fight. Took a lot of damage against Gene Silva. A lot of damage. Now he's fighting Manuel Torres. So it's like one of these fights was like skill for skill. I think Drew Dober is just so much better. The better mixed martial artist. He's fought the much better guys by a mile. But Manuel Torres, this guy's loco. This guy Manuel Torres, he's loco, dude. He's a loco guy, which means crazy. And yeah, he's crazy. All of his wins but one come in the first round, I believe. This guy is the definition of just swinging dicks, not defensively sound. He wants to go out there and he wants to take your head off. My worry here for Drew Dober is the potential declining durability. The fact that he is now 36 and a half years old at lightweight, and the grappling. I think the grappling could be a potential concern as well. We did see Manuel Torres take down and submit Chris Duncan, which is a win that obviously has aged very well. And we have seen Dober submitted like a lot throughout his career. So after taping the fight, I did pump the brakes a little bit on the Dober side. But I mean, Manuel Torres, that Bahamondes fight, I know it's Bahamondes. Bahamondes is a great fighter. That was a bad look to me. He ran face first into a punch from Bahamondes, gets dropped. He gets back up and remember the Sam Alvey, Marcin Prachnio?
Yes.
Fight? Exactly like that. Sam Alvey drops Marcin Prachnio. Prachnio gets back up. He marches head forward and then lands right back into the same shot. Alvey knocks him. It was the same thing there. Gets right back up and runs head first, hands down into a shot coming his way and gets knocked out and basically quit after that. So I think somebody's getting served here. I think both guys are very defensively responsible. And I know I say this once every couple shows, but when I say this, and I'm typically right when I say this, I don't think I've been wrong when I said it, Wheezy. I think these guys are going to stand in the middle. I think they're going to pull out their dicks. I think they're going to measure their dicks. And I think it's going to come down to who has the bigger dick. So my question I'm going to pose to you, out of Manuel Torres or Drew Dober, who do you think has the bigger cock?
Oh, God. That's a tough question because, it's like two porn stars, and one of them, while he's fucked way more porn stars over the years, you begin to wonder if the young buck might have a little bit more left in the tank, who's going to shoot it further, Is it going to be the old professional or is it going to be the young buck? Is it because Dirk Diggler, when he came into that business, he was the best right away. But then eventually you get into the cocaine, you lose all your money, and now you're sucking dick for beer money on the corner, Brady. And it all goes wrong. It all falls apart like a Chinese motorcycle. And it's the same thing in MMA. Once that chin gets cracked, once you're officially over that hill, it starts going down, and it starts going down real fast. And that's the question, because Drew Dober's never all of a sudden going to start being a defensively responsible fighter. You know what I'm saying, Brady? It's not going to happen. This Torres, it's never, the guy's loco. He doesn't even know how to spell defense. It's not anything that he does ever. He's coming to finish you. He's got 7 wins by submission, 7 wins by knockout. And this guy's got a submission win over the best grappler in the division in Chris Duncan, who's just stringing together submission wins like hotcakes over great grapplers like Bolagioki and Jordan Vucenic, Brady. So, that one is one that's aging very well. The Bahamondes knockout, like you said, it's Ignacio Bahamondes, but that's not aging well. And there's some variance, there's definitely some variance in his performances. And Drew Dober is the kind of guy where with 8 months between fights, maybe if that chin is going to hold up, I like him to win this fight, especially if it gets to the second round. I like Drew a lot, and I think he get a finish in the first. I think he get a finish in any round. It's Drew Dober, but the question is the chin cracked? Because there's signs that it might be. 42 professional fights, 36 years of age, 24 fights at the UFC level, 55% distance striking defense, taking a lot of shots from a lot of tough fighters. That it's a tough fight to call, but I'm leaning to that Dober side.
Yeah, I think you got to. I think you got to lean to the Dober side, but I do have some worries. I'm not as confident as I thought I would be. I thought I'd be very confident in Dober. I thought I'd play him, but I don't know. I didn't like the Frivola fight. He was very content to get hit in the face, which he always is, right? He's always very content. Yeah. And Torres, he's loco. He's loco. Yeah. He has power, and then he also has an opportunistic submission game, black belt. 18 fights for Torres, I believe. 17 fights have finished in the first round, win or lose. Pretty crazy.
And one limped all the way to the decision, kind of like Ateba Gautier versus that Welsh dude.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The one that did reach the second round went the distance. So we'll see. Kind of interesting line movement. A lot of people are on Manuel Torres. He opened up plus 105, it looks like, currently minus 129. As far as Drew Dober, opened up plus 110, currently opened up minus 125, my bad. Currently around plus 109, plus 110. The over-under set at 1.5. The over 1.5 is plus 140. The under 1.5 is minus 170. So, yeah, it looks like money's coming in on Torres and money's coming in on the over, it looks like. The over was plus 175. It's now plus 140. This is the best fight on the card by a mile. Yeah. If you're a fan of violence like I am, and I know Weezy's a fan of violence, then you're going to be a fan of this fight.
Oh, it's so good. The matchmaking, again, bravo. This is such a Mexico fight. These are two guys that really have a ton of fighting spirit and always bring fights that are fan friendly and co-main event. Yeah, this is a good one, man.
Agreed. My bad. Maybe I do need to grow up. The proper word is hog. That's my bad. Yeah. This is the Lexington Steel versus Ron Jeremy of MMA.
That's perfectly put.
Winner faces Johnny Sins. This is a keep your money in your pocket and enjoy the fireworks kind of fight. You may be onto something. But we'll see. There will be minus 500 after round one if it gets there.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas? Looking forward to this week. Yeah, me too. Lots of fun fights.
For sure.
So before we move on to the main event, we have 424 of you in here hanging out with us on a Sunday, nice and late. If you guys could pipe up the like button, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Sunday, 10:15 Eastern time, always on time. If anything, we're early, and that's kind of what we're known for around here. We have the main event, which I feel like we just talked about the main event, to be honest. I feel like Dober Torres is the main event, but no, this one's good as well. It's Brandon Moreno going against Steve Erceg. Brandon Moreno is 31 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. Steve Erceg, 29 years old, 5'9" with a 69.5-inch reach. We got Erceg 2 years younger, Erceg with a 2-inch height advantage, and Moreno with a half-inch reach advantage. Moreno is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Kaikar of France. Knockout win against Davis and Figueiredo. Decision loss against Alexander Pantoja. Decision loss against Brandon Royval. And then a decision win against Amir Albazi. As far as Steve Erceg, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Win against David Dvorak. I believe it was his debut. Decision win against Alessandro Costa. Knockout win against poor Matt Schnell. A decision loss against Alexander Pantoja. And then a knockout loss to Kaikar of France. Yeah, interesting fight here. Steve Erceg kind of shocked me in his last fight, to be honest. This is a guy in Erceg who I thought was very, very durable, and I still think he is, but he got sparked by Kaikar of France. Prior to that, went to a very close fight with Alexander Pantoja. I had a bet on Alexander Pantoja there, and I wasn't feeling too great about it, especially because I laid juice, and it was close, but ended up losing the fight there. But yeah, I think Erceg impressed a lot of people really throughout his entire UFC run, and even in his loss against Pantoja, that gave I think Erceg a lot of hype, and people gave him a lot of props there. As far as Brandon Moreno, this guy's been fighting forever. It seems like at this point, 31 years old, a little bit older, but he looked career worst against Brandon Royval, and I kind of started to get a little bit worried about him. But he did bounce back and looked probably career best against Amir Albazi. So I still think Brandon Moreno at 31 years old still has a little bit left in the tank here. I think it's a close fight. The line kind of surprises me here. I get we're in Mexico, and in theory that favors Moreno, but I just feel like this fight is going to be very competitive. I think Erceg absolutely has the striking to hang with Moreno. Erceg and Moreno, they're both great grab. I think these guys are pretty well matched, but the line is not indicating that. It looks like Moreno's around minus 200 and Erceg's plus 170. So, Weezy, what are you doing with this main event here?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because they're making Moreno a big favorite, but to me, that Amir Albazi fight, Amir had nothing. Amir had nothing for him, dude. That is not an impressive win, because I think just about any flyweight in the division would have went out there and beaten Amir Albazi that night. Amir had neck surgery, was on a 2-year layoff, and he just, you could tell, like he was drawn dead right from the fucking the first round. He just wasn't engaging on the feet. He had no ability to be able to wrestle offensively, and Brandon was just kind of using his length and his striking to just piece him up, and it was easy. It was a very easy fight for Brandon. But prior to that, people were talking about, is this guy done for? Is he walking away from the speed? He actually did like kind of mini retire there for a little bit. So I think like making Moreno a little bit this big of a favorite can be a little bit tricky, because first of all, Erceg went from fucking Perth to Rio to fight Pantoja and made it close. So this guy can come into enemy territory and perform really well. And I think, Brandon Moreno, while he's, obviously a former champion of the division and has got excellent striking and excellent grappling, Erceg is well matched with him everywhere. He's a little bit longer than him. He's a little bit taller. He's younger by about more than a year and a half. And, I think that Erceg is probably the guy more likely to wrestle here. I know that he's going to wrestle some, and I know that he's a little bit bigger than Brandon, and both of these guys are very good on the ground. So I'm interested to see who wins the grappling exchanges here. But on the feet, I kind of feel like I have to back Moreno, and it's durability. It's not that Erceg's not durable. That was one of the things that we were saying about him coming into the UFC. See this guy hitting clean shots all the fucking time. But that's the one thing we're never going to doubt about Moreno. The guy's durability is legendary for the division. He's got a ton of heart. There's no quit in him. And I'm not saying there's quit in Steve Erceg, but I think that Moreno, if he lands clean, if Kai Kara France can knock him out, I think Brandon Moreno has a chance to knock him out. But nobody's knocking out Brandon Moreno, and I don't think anybody's going to submit him either. So I think that this is either Erceg by decision, or Moreno, gets a win in one of a number of different ways. But I think Erceg's going to have to win this by decision in Mexico at elevation against a former champion. I think that that's a very, very big ask. So I think that this is probably going to be Brandon Moreno, but I don't want to lay minus 200, dude.
Yeah, I think it's a super close fight. And we got to remember, and C is bringing this up, he got KO'd by Kaikar Fran. And it's a bad look, but Usyk was minus 200 or so in that fight, like maybe even wider.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, coming off a loss, he got a little bit overrated, and that's something that happens. We just saw that happen with Jordan Vucenic this week. And, this is something that we got to be aware of because those recent money lines, they do matter, and you got to look for recency bias in some of those performances. And frankly, we didn't learn much from the Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. He's not back in my mind yet because he beat somebody that looks like he's pretty much on his way out the door right now.
Something to mention, I forget who brought it up, but somebody posted on Twitter or X, Moreno's like 0-3 in Mexico.
That is wild.
Yeah,
that is wild. I think I saw Nevro posting that in here too, that he's 0-3 in Mexico, which is just bizarre.
Which is also another reason I wouldn't really lay minus 200. Over 1.5 in this fight. You're talking about the Torres Dober fight, over at 1.5 in a Torres fight. I wouldn't personally, but maybe both guys. Maybe it could be like a filling out process type thing.
It would be a contrarian call for sure.
Yeah. What's up, fellas? Looking forward to this week. Me too. Moreno should just take Steve down. We got Alex. What's up, Alex? Good to see you in here. Moreno's faster and proven. I don't think Moreno's faster. All right, now that I'm here, I got Usyk. I think Moreno doesn't have that kind of motivation, and Albazi is absolutely terrible. The motivation is a good point you brought up, because I did remember hearing that Moreno was going to be taking some time off. I think he said taking some time off from the sport for a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of what he said. Usyk has good cardio, maybe just mix in some takedowns just to mix it up. Gus like an Usyk as well. Should be a solid main event. But all right, we are about 2.5 hours in. What we're going to do now is a couple things. We got a couple very important things to do. We need to find a Stat Diggers 2-leg parlay. We need to find who's going to be the on-site piping of the week. And then we need to find out who's going to be the milking of the week. So I think it'd be fun because we have a ton of options, Weezy, this week for the on-site piping of the week. I think it'd be fun to maybe let the chat decide. So I put 4 options into a poll, and I want to see what the chat says. Whatever the chat picks, we'll go with that. For a couple reasons. I think it'd be fun, some chat interaction. And for 2, if it loses, we blame you guys. So, here's the names I put. And if you need me to take one out and add somebody, let me know. But here's the names I put for potential on-site piping of the week. Stat Diggers, on-site piping of the week. And I'll start the poll. Easy. The options I put. Option number 1, Joseph, Body Bags Pyfer.
Yes.
Option number 2, Ateba, the Silent Assassin, Godinez. Option number 3, Jamaal, Pretty Boy, Emmers. Option number 4, Edgar, Chairez. Those are the 4 options I put. I don't know if I should have took anybody out, but I don't think Godinez is piping anybody. Don't really love David Martinez at minus 400. Rafa Garcia at minus 500, I think, is a joke.
Yeah.
Rosas kind of more of a milking.
I was going to say Rose is more of a milking than a piping.
Milking. Yeah. And Medeiros at minus 200. No, so those are the 4 options. I think those are probably the 4 best options.
Agreed.
And then while we let you guys in the chat vote, which I highly encourage you guys to do so, we'll come up with the milking of the week. So with the milking of the week, for me, I think there's 2 solid options, man. I could see Joseph Pyfer going out there with some overalls, bringing a nice big pail, throwing Gastelum down, putting him all 4s, and just milking his tea. I think it like a slow milking. The ref is forced to stop in, whether it's a knockout or a sub. I could see Joseph Pyfer milking Gastelum. I could see Raul Rosas Jr., milking Vince Morales, taking him down, milking him. So those would kind of be the 2 I would look at. What do you think for a milking of the week? Is there anything else that sticks out?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, do they milk with sombreros on in Mexico? Because if the answer to that question is yes, and I mean, you need protection from the sun. I think maybe Raul Rosas, El Mariachi Loco, with that giant sombrero, they're milking those teats of Vince Morales. I think that's probably the way it goes this week, man.
I like it, dude. I like it. So the Stat Diggers milking of the week is going to be Raul Rosas Jr. to milk Vince Morales. And then there we go. Pull it up. There we go. There it is. The Stat Diggers Milk of the Week 3-0. We're 3-0. Can we make it 4-0? We'll find out. So the Stat Diggers Milk of the Week is Raul Rosas Jr. to milk Vince Morales. Raul Rosas Jr. has come out there with the sombrero, block out that sun, get on his hands and knees, get dirty, and milk him up. Milk him out. The refs force to step in, and Morales taps due to a lack of milk. You need milk to survive, right?
You do, dude.
Milk's
you
good
absolutely
for you.
do.
Milk's good for you. It has the calcium and other nutrients. If you don't have milk, All right, so I'm gonna end the crap. I can't end the poll. It's a tie. I can't end it.
Oh no! Keep voting, people.
We'll give you 30 more seconds. It's a tie between Joseph Bodybags Pyfer and Ateba, the Silent Assassin, to Gautier. So
that makes sense.
So about 30 more seconds. Okay. All right. I'm going to end the poll. All right. We have our on-site piping of the week. On-site piping of the week is Joe Bodybags Pyfer to pipe up Kelvin Gastelum on-site this Saturday. Let's go.
I like it.
Pyfer to pipe Kelvin Gastelum on site. There we go. Okay, the on-site piping of the week, Joe Bodybags Pyfer to pipe Kelvin Gastelum on site.
There we go. I like it. I like the milking and I like the piping. Now we just got to hit another Stat Diggers parlay, man.
Let's do. There's a lot of legs. Last week, there wasn't a ton of legs I liked, but this week, I think there's a lot of solid legs we can look at. So what are you thinking for a couple legs here we can put in there?
Dude, here's 3 legs that I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
I'm looking at that Chairez money line.
Yep.
I don't mind violence in the Ateba Gautier fight. I don't care how durable this guy is. I think he's getting slept out there. Rest in peace, Homer Simpson. And then, you know what I think is a really cheeky one is the under 2.5 rounds in Miranda versus Emmers. Emmers has been killer be killed in his last few fights. He looks to be looking to finish fights, and he looks to be flashing some power. And if anybody could fuck up and fall into a submission of Gabriel Miranda, my friends, it is Jamaal Emmers. So I don't mind an under 2.5 rounds there at -170. I think that's a decent price, and I got a feeling that one hits.
Yeah, I like that too. We'll throw that under in there. The under in the Emmers Miranda fight, -170. We'll do that.
Okay.
And then we can pair it. Want to pair it with like a money line or?
Yeah. So where was that under 2.5 -170 for that fight?
-170.
It wasn't in my. My model says that it's fairly priced because 60% of their combined 10 fights have finished under 2.5 rounds. But the cheeky part of that is that Emmers has been finishing lately, and Miranda, 17 of his 21 professional fights and all 3 of his UFC fights have finished under 2.5 rounds.
Yeah.
So man, I don't mind laying a little juice there on that -170. And do you see CJ Vergara beating this guy?
Yeah, I think. I think no.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that would be a good second leg,
and it's a playable line. Like a lot of these favorites are -350, -400. At least with Chairez, he's -280, right?
Yeah. Do you think we go with that one?
Can we get plus money with those two? 280 and
Chairez would make it. Where is he? Oh, he's way up there. -280. That parlay comes out to. Oh, it's not even fucking. Not letting me parlay that actually on Bet Rivers. So -280 and -170 on a parlay calculator.
Okay, I'm on it. -280 and then -170 comes out to +116.
I don't mind that, dude.
Yeah.
I think that one hits.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Last week we went 3 for 3. Let's see if we can do it again.
There we go. That's always the plan, my friend. 3 for 3, and we want to win.
There we go. Pyfer. She wee-wees under 5 minutes. I beg your pardon. Gastelum misses weight and ends up in the bovine weight class.
Means cow.
And I like the nickname there, the cow, which is good for the milking of the teats there.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. If Julia isn't milking Lupita, I'll gladly do it for her. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Mel Costa's a lock as a dog. Milky Costa. Yeah, we could have done the milking with Costa, but I don't know. I don't know. Missed it. What is the parlay? The parlay is the Edgar Chairez money line with the under 2.5 in the Emmers Miranda fight. The piping of the week is Joe Pyfer, and the milking of the week is Raul Rosas Jr. to milk Vince Morales there. All right, we did it. We are 2 hours and 40 minutes in, which is pretty solid there. Had a good crowd tonight. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I'm going to kick it to you, Weezy. Let the people know where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. You can find me on Twitter or X at MMA Weezy. And you can find me on my Odds Shopper. My $25 a month probability stats and content package has access to stats that you see up here on the screen, analytics, individual fighter stats, DFS stats, betting models for prop bets and over-under bets, access to me, your Uncle Weezy, and 4 hours of content every week with a 2-hour balls deep breakdown, a 2-hour show called Probability. You get access to all my track bets. And guess what? I'm shaving ass on my track bets, Brady. You and me both, actually, this year.
What a great year. We're back.
Yeah, 20% return on investment or over, and I think I'm up like well over 20 units already this year. It's been a great start, and over these last 3 weeks, I think I'm up 21 or 22 units. So definitely been a good year so far. Check me out on that Odds Shopper. That's the best place to support my work. Thank you guys for watching. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Mexico City. Saimon.
Yeah, man. I mean, they got rid of those trash gloves, and hey, we're hitting bets at a very high rate again. Feels good. Yeah. Fights are finishing. Dogs are cashing, which none of that happened in 2020. 2024, it was favorites and decisions. It was awful. It was terrible. Yep. But we're back, and hopefully we continue to be back. And hopefully no more trash gloves, man. No more trash gloves. All right. Oh, we got Gus with the dono on the way out with the $2.99. Appreciate you, Gus. Says, appreciate the content, lads. We appreciate you, Gus, and we appreciate all of you guys. Again, if you guys could like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. I'll be getting out my full card breakdown and prediction video tomorrow. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. Looking forward to hopefully making it 4 winning weeks in a row for me, for Weezy, and looking for some violence as well. There is no violence in London, but I think there's going to be violence from Mexico. I think some people are going to get piped. I think some people are going to get milked. And hopefully we can take advantage and cash some bets, man. So, yeah, best of luck, everybody, for UFC Mexico. And we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.